go ahead and bring to order this meeting of Templeton Community Services District Board of Directors meeting. Today is September 2nd, 5:30 p.m. Roll call, please.
Directors Hardonish.
Here.
Rubin,
Here.
Mortensen,
Here.
Peterson.
Here.
Here.
This is our closed session. Our items to discuss is conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation. The second item is conference with labor negotiator. And the third item is public employee annual performance evaluation. Any public comments on the closed session items? If you do, please, on the react button, raise your hand. Okay, all right. Let's go ahead and adjourn to a closed session.
It's still.
I don't know, I'm gonna try and
Go ahead.
leave that on.
I'm gonna try that laptop.
Is that one not working?
All right, just do one of that. That we're working for. I don't want
Oh,
Are you? Thank you.
where did these go from?
Oh, you're always helping, Joanne. You're always helping. Right? Yeah, now I got two.
And also, I understand. Just ask me, there's not that many, so it's. That's all we have.
Very bottom, like how many people. How many people are joining?
I'll be happy. You can't see it. That little tiny, yeah, it's, yeah, pretty tall.
Oh, so you can be our eyes.
How's the internet?
Okay.
Yeah, she had to swap out the room.
Recording in progress.
Let's go ahead, bring the meeting of Templeton Community Services District Board of Directors to order. We had a closed session meeting right before this, and there was nothing to report out of the closed session. For this meeting, call to order, please.
Directors Bardonish,
Here.
Logan,
Here.
Mortensen,
Here.
Peterson,
Hear it out there.
and Tyrone.
Can't hear it out there.
Nothing. Is nothing, or is it?
You check and see if you can hear
The
it.
volume is just low? Can you maybe turn it up a little bit?
Here.
Sure. Try to speak louder too.
You heard that?
Is it better now?
Can you hear now?
Can you hear?
Can the people outside here?
No, not yet.
And that's fine. Are there volume on the speakers
I
themselves?
think he's.
Yeah, I got controls here, it's just really sensitive.
Can you hear outside now?
Can you hear?
No.
Can you hear anything? No. There's a test that I didn't look
It worked earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you were walking up, it was
I heard
working
it loud and
fine.
clear.
Have everyone come in.
Yeah, especially.
Get cozy. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Now,
No?
is
can you
it
hear
plugged
me?
in?
Nothing not unplugged, right? Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
working.
Yeah,
Definitely working.
and it didn't get unplugged.
Sitting out there with a smile on his face.
Greg, did you come up for a comment card?
Mic check again.
Carrie, I'll take it.
Can you hear me? No, not yet. Okay.
Must have.
You can use the.
Oh, boy.
Test, test, test. Test,
No, it doesn't look like it.
test, test, test.
The obvious question was, is your mic turned on?
I know, I said.
Green light's on, yeah.
It's on. It was working earlier, so.
Will sign language work?
Yeah. You can translate
I don't
there.
have.
That's it's not working. Okay. It's
We wanna try opening up windows.
Oh.
the windows. Or how it sounds.
I don't know how much sound,
Yeah, I wanna
but at least if we could open those.
Yeah, no, right, no, now we lost the recording. To the image, please.
Can you raise the blinds?
Stop it, stop it. It's fine.
If they go on Zoom, I'm on their phone. Yeah. No. I've mentioned. Yeah, that's it. It was just a conversation. Speaker. So they looked at me and I was like.
So what's the problem?
No, the Zoom's not working.
I don't, yeah.
They could out there.
Well, we lost
sign
one
in
computer.
On Zoom.
It keeps taking us off, so I don't know if you.
You wanna take it? Break?
I don't think I can fix it. I don't have a tech person to do this.
Okay, so because. I see this.
Well, I don't know. What are we?
I guess we could start because the beginning is presentation too. then.
Yeah, let's do the presentation. And we'll see how the room plays out afterwards.
Yeah.
And there may
Let's do
be.
that. Okay, we'll go ahead. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and I'll speak as loudly as possible. So let's go ahead and please stand for pledge of allegiance. I pledge
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please have a seat. Order of business, do any of the board members would like to change the order of business? Okay. Special reports, let's go ahead and get started with San Luis Obispo County Sheriff's Department update, please.
Sandra Rosa, Sheriff's Office Central Station. For last month's stats, we have 7 calls for service for assault and battery, 5 reports were taken, 9 for disturbance, 2 calls for burglary, 4 for theft, 7 for vandalism, 5 for trespassing, 2 calls for scam reports, 2 reports were taken, 16 for suspicious circumstances. To date, we have taken up to 392 calls to date. From last year, being 360, so we're up 42 calls from where we were last year and taking reports. And just for the month of 46, that said, the 4th of July is probably what drove some of those stats up. Any questions for me?
I don't have any question. Any questions from the board? From public, any questions from the sheriff? No? Okay, thank you. Krishan, you'll be staying?
Yeah.
Great, thank you. Next, California Highway Patrol, CHP, are they here for? No, he's not here, CHP is not here. Templeton Unified School District, Jennifer, I know I saw her earlier. Templeton Unified School District representative?
Oh.
Yeah, yes.
Sorry about that, I'm out here hearing echoes.
Thanks for coming.
Good evening, I'm Jennifer Griniger, I'm a trustee with the Templeton Unified School District. And I think probably the most important news that we have is that we have continued to talk about where we're gonna have our project start with the bond money that everybody voted for. And we gave direction at the last meeting to have the district move forward with paying the architects to create a master plan that would give us some drawings and some clear what it would look like if we did move forward with moving the middle school to Vineyard Elementary and swapping those 2 school sites. So that decision isn't completely voted on yet, but that's the direction that we're moving. And that's what we're asking to get the drawings from. And that's pretty much it. We had a great first couple weeks of the school year so far, and we're glad to be back in session. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? No, thank you. All right, next is our fire chief for badge pinning ceremony. I guess our fire engineer Sarah Whale is not gonna be here.
Yes, correct. She had a conflict this evening. Good evening, members of the board. And yeah, it's my honor this evening to have one of our firefighters receiving his badge after completing his task book. David, come on up. This is David Schwartz. So as usual, our firefighters go through a pretty rigorous academy when they first start, and then they're assigned a task book. And they spend the next several months, and sometimes up to a year going through this task book to get signed off. And at that point, when they've completed all the elements in that task book, they are eligible to receive their badge and become a full-fledged reserve firefighter for us. David has done that. A little bit about David. He was born in Bakersfield, born and raised in Bakersfield. And he is a Army Reserve as a combat medic and civil affairs specialist. He's also currently working on his AA in Spanish at Cuesta College. What got him interested in the fire service was a class that he took as a senior I'm assuming that was in Bakersfield. And that showed kids the fire service and what it was all about. And I think that's where the hook was set. Yeah, okay. David likes weightlifting, running, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, so we've got our defense right here, and studying Spanish. David's been a great asset for us during our last academy, great part of the instruction crew, along with our other firefighters that brought our 5 newest guys in, and he was an integral part of that. So David, do you have somebody you want to come up and well, actually, before you do that, we're gonna do an oath of office. And instead of me reading this to you, I'm just gonna have you read it. You can raise your right hand, and this is your oath.
I, David Schwartz, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duty upon which I am about to enter.
Congratulations. And do you want to introduce anybody?
I have my wife Laura come in my badge.
The medic, so, you know, sticking with that.
All right. The next item is our fire chief, Chief Peterson is gonna update us on Gifford Fire.
Yes. Okay, thank you. I just wanted to give the board a brief update on our deployments over the last month. And when I say the last month, I mean our last 31 days, our Type 3 engine with 2 different crews has been deployed out on 2 different fires. The first fire was in county here, the Gifford Fire, and we were deployed with 4 other engines on Strike Team 1471 Charlie. Deployed were Captain Wall, Engineer Wells, and Firefighter Clayton. And they spent 16 days out on the Gifford Fire, obviously east of Santa Margarita here. Their first crew assignments, and I'm gonna go through this pretty quickly. And basically, this is just kind of a slideshow to see what the crew was doing during that whole period of time. Was backfires, line construction, line holding, spot fires, so picking up spot fires, mobile attacking, what we call slop overs or other spot fires. I think at one point, Captain Wall told me they had a firing operation where they were burning out a section and they had a slop over where a spot fire started at another 5-acre fire that their crew and a couple of other engines were able to pick up and not allow it to escape those lines. So essential work throughout that whole process. They held multiple lines throughout the entire 16 days. Some of them were pretty significant. They would come up on spot fires, get those contained and taken care of. They worked 24-hour shifts and were off 24 and then went back on 24, and that continued for the entire 16 days. It was very rugged, long days, on the line. It was hot. It was very smoky and very dusty, out there. A couple of times when they were able to get back to the station to do some laundry and those types of things, it obviously showed. The terrain was vertical, to say the least, and they put in thousands and thousands of feet of hose line. As you can see here, this hose line just continued for miles at some point. And obviously, after the fire, that all has to be reclaimed and reconnected. The conditions were pretty rough. It was very smoky. They took a lot of smoke, a lot of heat, a lot of fire throughout the entire process. They swapped out with a new crew on the 16th, Captain Baker, Engineer Rodlin, and Firefighter Blank. This crew was reassigned after a few days of being on the Gifford fire to the Garnett fire, and that was on the 27th. That was in the Sequoia National Forest, and they only had him for a few days because I asked the op area coordinator to get our engine released and get it back. They were out for a total of 31 days. On that fire, they did line construction and a variety of other, but you can see the difference in topography and fuels. We got heavy timber here, or we had brush and vegetation on the Gifford fire. There were some significant water demands and supply issues on both fires, and this is just an example of how they kind of contend with those water demands on filling the engines when they have to be refilled out in the middle of nowhere. Obviously, there's no hydrants out there, so they have to be creative. They were released on the 31st. Again, as I said, 2 crews, 2 fires, and a total of 31 days. And that's a brief on the Gifford and Garnett fire.
I appreciate it. Alright, any questions? For Chief? Public, any questions? Yes, please.
I apologize for the simplicity of my question, but what do the firefighters use to prevent them from inhaling smoke?
Well, sometimes we can use like a bandana or something like that, but typically we're inhaling the smoke. Try and stay out of it. Yep.
Any other questions for Chief? Okay, well, thank you for that, Chief. Next item is our public comment section. Members of the public may address the board on any items of interest within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board, but not on the agenda today. In compliance with the Brown Act, the board cannot discuss or act on items not on the agenda. However, board members or district staff members may briefly respond to statements made or questions posed by the public. So in this section, this is only for, if you have a comment you want to make that's not on the agenda. So we will be getting to the fireworks discussion later on, and that's when you could, if you have comments on that, that's when you could make that. But if you have any other comments, public, if anybody wants to speak at this point for any other topic, they're more than welcome to stand up and go to the podium. Anybody on Zoom, if you have a comment to make, you could, there should be a raise your hand, is under React. Under React, if you click on that, there should be raise your hand. Okay, all right. All right, then we'll go ahead and close that public comment section and then move to consent agenda. We have 4 items on our consent agenda. We have the minutes from the regular meeting of August 5th, 2025. We have the treasurer's report from June 2025. We have budget amendment, vehicle outfitting, and lastly, budget amendment is silver pump and controls replacement. I'm gonna go ahead and pull item D for a discussion. Any other items board would like to pull? No. Okay, public, any items want to pull on that? Okay. All right, so we'll bring it back to, board. I will entertain a motion for items 7A, B, and C.
I motion that the board approve consent agenda item A, the minutes of the August 5th, 2025 meeting. Item B, the treasurer's report, and item C, the budget amendment for the vehicle outfitting.
Sure. All right, okay, roll call, please.
Directors Logan,
Aye.
Peterson,
Yes.
Mortensen,
Aye.
Tyrone,
Yes.
and Fardonish.
Aye. Okay, item D, the budget amendment for Silva pump and control replacement. General manager, would you mind going over that one, please?
Sure, I just wanted to point out one discrepancy between the staff report and the agenda. In the staff report, the recommendation is to approve a $30,000 budget amendment. On the agenda itself, the recommendation was $25,000. That error was mine. Because the agenda lists the lower amount, we're gonna alter our recommendation to match the agenda amount of $25,000. And if we're unable to complete the repair for that amount and request additional funds, we'll come back at a later date. But we will proceed with making the repair if that's approved.
All right, thank you. Any questions? for the Public, any questions? Okay, all right, I'll bring it back to board. I'm gonna go ahead and make a motion to approve the budget amendment for Silva pump and controls, replacement for the amount of $25,000.
My second motion.
Roll call, please.
Directors Fardonish,
Aye.
Logan,
Aye.
Mortensen,
Aye.
Peterson,
Yes.
and Tyrone.
Okay, motion passes 5-0. All right. Now we're to our business item, which is the fireworks discussion. So we are going to go ahead and have general manager start. We have a staff report.
Yeah, I just would briefly highlight the items there in the staff report. So this discussion item before you tonight relates to the district's Safe and Sane Fireworks program, as well as enforcement of illegal fireworks. The staff report covers some history on these topics, particularly on the first several pages of the staff report. We talk about the history of the district's Safe and Sane Fireworks program. The district has allowed safe and sane fireworks sales and use for many decades. Because we are our own fire authority, the rules about safe and sane fireworks fall on you as the board of directors. They do not default to the county in this case. This item, the issue of safe and sane fireworks, has come before your board approximately once every decade for the past several decades. And each time it's come up, the board has continued to allow safe and sane fireworks to be sold and used in Templeton. But it is entirely within your discretion to either alter those rules for that program in some way or prohibit safe and sane fireworks altogether should you wish. And while you can you can provide direction to staff on that topic tonight, ultimately it would require a change in ordinance, and that would have to be considered at a later date to implement any changes to the program. There's also a section on the relationship between safe and sane fireworks and what I'll call illegal fireworks. Undoubtedly, there are folks in the community who believe that because the district allows safe and sane fireworks, the problems and challenges that we have with illegal fireworks are worse because of it. And I'm sure you'll hear from folks on that issue tonight. And then there's a discussion on illegal fireworks enforcement and how our role, Templeton Fire's role, has primarily been as a deterrent. We do not cite under the district code currently for illegal fireworks. We would contact the sheriff's department if there was a combative individual or somebody who we ran into that we needed assistance with. Law enforcement is handled in this community primarily by the sheriff's department, and we have representatives from the sheriff's department here tonight. We provide a number of alternatives for enhancing enforcement should you wish the district to take on a more active role. And we can get into that perhaps after you've heard from some of the folks tonight. We did invite to tonight's meeting representatives from the sheriff's department, from the county parks. As you know, the county parks is the Templeton Park is a location where lots of fireworks, legal and illegal fireworks, are used annually. representatives from Phantom Fireworks and TNT Fireworks, and then all four booth permit holders. We have 4 permitted booths, or we did in 2025, and then for several years previously, permit holders, and we notified them of this discussion. We received 14 written comments that were included in your packet, and 2 additional comments were provided to came in today and have been provided to the board. And then tonight, if there are persons in the audience who wish to speak, we'd ask that we fill out a comment card just with their name and this is the topic they'd like to comment on if you're able. You're not required to fill this out, but it does help us kind of keep the meeting organized, make notes about the comments that were received. So we've got a stack of maybe 20 folks who want to speak on this topic, and then 3 additional written comments that came in during the course of the meeting or just before this topic came up. At this time, I'd ask that the board ask staff, myself, Chief Peterson, or David Hirsch, legal counsel, all of which contributed to the development of the staff report. If you have any questions of its contents, or information about the contents of the report. And if you, once all the questions have been answered, that you'd invite the public to make comments. After everyone's had a chance to be heard on the topic, then the board should deliberate whether or not you wish to see a change to the Safe and Sane Fireworks program. If there's consensus to do so, direction to staff to draft an ordinance that would formally implement such changes could be given. And again, that ordinance would come back at a later date. And then separately that you direct us to take whatever initial steps you deem appropriate regarding the illegal fireworks enforcement. And again, I went through this really quickly, and you probably have some questions about some of the contents, and we'd be happy to try to.
Thank you. Okay, so at this time, I'm gonna go ahead, I'll start, but at this time, as general manager said, we're just gonna ask the questions that we have and then wait for the comments, after the public has, put in their comments. So I'll just go ahead and start, with questions and then, we go down the line. At first, I'm gonna start with our attorney. Can TCSD be responsible for any decision we make in terms of, whether we ban the fireworks or we continue to keep selling fireworks? Can TCSD be responsible for any damages done by?
I don't think that forms the basis for liability. District's bond at all.
Great, thank you. And then I just want to go to fire chief now. Sale of fireworks, the booth are allowed to sell fireworks is from July 1st to till July 4th at 8 p.m.
Correct.
And then, what are the hours that people are allowed to set off fireworks? What are the days, hours?
So they can start on the morning of the 4th of July up until the evening.
Actually, your code reads noon on July 1st.
Noon.
11th.
Correct, I'm sorry, 1st.
To 11:59 on July 4th. That's in the fire code. You have control of when that occurs.
Okay. And then, does our policy state anything about where fireworks could be set off?
Within the boundaries of TCSD.
But, so they could be
Okay.
anywhere? Are we?
There are some locations that we prohibit the use of Safe and Sane fireworks, including school district property, and the district park. And I believe there's a map that indicates the area behind the feeding grain was also a no use.
Correct. So there are designated maps on each booth that identify those areas that you can set them off. Obviously, as the general manager said, the schools, the parking lots, those areas are typically off limits. And we try and clear people out of those. All other areas, including the county park here, are eligible for setting off, not including the county park, are eligible for setting off the fireworks. Our local parks are TCSD owned parks. They're all closed and shut down, so typically people do not get into those.
Okay, so as far as the park is concerned, how is it possible then for people to be setting off fireworks at the park.
Lack of enforcement.
And that enforcement is by sheriff.
Well, it can be, yeah, by us, by the sheriff's department. When we go through, I have our folks go through. And there are hundreds of people within the park at that point in time. And basically what we tell them is, we confiscate fireworks and tell them to move on. More people come in. And so when we get dispatched to a call or something, then obviously more people show up and it becomes this repetitive cycle.
So technically, no one's supposed to be setting off fireworks at the park.
That's a county ordinance that is not supposed to be a.
And then just for clarification, the county did actually fence that park in the year 2000 during COVID to sort of not because of fireworks, but to prevent the congregation. So that park has been fenced off before. Okay. That was at county parks made that determination.
Okay, all right. And then I have a couple of questions for Sheriff, if you don't mind, stepping up to the podium, please. How many officers, for 4th of July do we have in Templeton?
Good evening, Nate Paul, Chief Deputy of Operations for the Sheriff's Office. For this past year or in general?
In general, the average or specifically if you have the number for this.
So it would vary this past year for, I'm thinking of the staffing by shifts because we generally run 3 shifts. The most busiest shift for 4th of July would be approximately 4 p.m. to 2 o'clock in the morning. So we had 6 people on duty for that. With an additional 2 people coming on duty at 9 p.m.
But the 6 people, are they exclusively for Templeton?
No.
Anything?
They're from North County, north of Custer Grade.
North of Custer Grade. So specifically for Templeton, do we have a number or?
So the North County is divided into beats.
Okay,
Templeton is in what we refer to as beat 5, which is one response area. Generally, you would assign a car or 2 to that response area, and then a car or 2 to another response area. But depending on what the traffic is, ours is a business of triage,
okay.
where you may have to hopscotch to higher priority calls and stuff like that elsewhere in the North County.
Okay, thank you. What is your policy for giving citations for fireworks, illegal fireworks, or?
So we don't have a specific policy about fireworks enforcement. We enforce all the laws, the criminal laws, that the state of California has. Criminal violations of fireworks are prohibited in the Health and Safety Code, which we enforce.
Mhm.
Every peace officer in the state, whether it's a fireworks violation or a trespassing violation or any violation, a vehicle code violation, has discretion in how they enforce that law. That's why sometimes you get pulled over and you get a citation. Sometimes you get a warning. In the case of fireworks, in addition to citations, which would be a criminal violation, the county also has their new fireworks civil violation process. And I think that that's important for the board to understand as we discuss enforcement. That new county resolution came into effect immediately prior to the 4th of July, with just enough time for us to basically orient ourselves for enforcement. It is a different burden of proof from a criminal citation in that we do not have to be able to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. That is the standard of proof or the burden of proof for a criminal violation, which is why you have fewer criminal violations. I noticed in staff's report, they mentioned they didn't know the last time a citation was issued. Now, we can issue a health and safety code citation for fireworks on any day of the year, but in order for it to be prosecuted, it has to rise to the level of being provable beyond a reasonable doubt, which means even if we cite for it, the district attorney's office may not file. Now, the new county ordinance firework violation is a civil process, which allows the county to assess a fine civilly does not require the district attorney to file it. And thus it does not have to be proven beyond a reasonable doubt. Given that, it allows us more leeway in enforcement because we can tie it to a specific property without being able to first person testify that a specific individual at a specific time was, say, in possession of an illegal firework or was observed lighting it off. So we don't have a specific policy because our policy is we enforce the laws of the state of California with discretion, but that's the reality of how we go about that enforcement.
But that was in effect for Fourth of July,
Yes,
correct? So how many citations were given for Fourth of July in Templeton?
Citations or violation notices.
Violation, okay, yeah.
So in Templeton, we did not issue any violation notices.
And then, so what about the park? I mean, to me, that's violation there, so how could there have not been any, you know, anything done there?
What I can tell you is historically, one or two deputy sheriffs would have a really tough time issuing violation notices in that park, and you essentially herd cats. So we did not issue violation notices in the park, and compared to other portions of the North County, Templeton was calm, which doesn't make it right that Templeton had problems, but I'm saying because ours is a business of triage. I was in the field on the 4th of July. All of our division commanders were in the field, and I met with each of them throughout the night. I was in Oceano, observing what was going on there when I heard things happening on the radio in San Miguel, and I responded directly to San Miguel. I'm not saying Templeton did not have illegal fireworks taking place. I'm not saying there weren't things that were citable. But as I passed through Templeton, I thought, good, it's quiet here compared to what was happening in San Miguel.
All right, thank you, Sheriff, appreciate it. All right,
Yes, so I have a question for the sheriffs. With respect to illegal fireworks, do you find that in those areas that do not allow safe and sane fireworks, that there's less illegal fireworks?
No, I think it's the illegal fireworks are the crux of the problem. And it's been my observation, just professionally, that they're becoming more available. Just it's easier for people to obtain and purchase them. I don't know specifically where they get them. I mean, I've seen the stands out of state and stuff like that. But I don't see a correlation, between the safe and sane and illegal. To be clear, we've seen a massive increase in the use of illegal fireworks, unequivocally in all parts of the county.
Okay, thank you.
Director Morgan, questions? Director Peterson, any questions?
Just one. How many officers would you think it would take on the 4th of July to truly make a difference in giving citations throughout the county, not only in Templeton?
I don't think we have enough. Okay, here's we upstaff for the 4th of July. And inevitably, it's a cycle where an area will quiet down when another area picks up, and you can't be everywhere at once. So the challenge for us is to be able to respond to the emergency calls. And that's the other challenge. The reality of a day like the 4th is the population balloons with people from out of the area. The problems balloon because proportionate to that number of people. And, you have more problems. And then you're always triaging what calls you respond to and how many resources you devote. So we'll put a fireworks car, let's say we put a fireworks car on duty in Templeton, but then there's an episode of domestic violence on the other side of the Salinas River in the Alma Mater, so hypothetically. That is a higher priority call, and that fireworks call may need to respond to assist elsewhere. And then as soon as that car leaves, similar to, if you said about somebody in Templeton Park, the conduct resumes behind. So I would say that maximum staffing that we can deploy is appropriate for a day like the 4th of July. And it would be the closest thing we could do to, as you put it, sort of make a difference.
It may sound like we're jumping on it, but thank you for everything you guys do for this community.
I was, as I said, I was in the field on the 4th. I was in San Miguel, and then I heard the call here at the Feed and Grain. I was a ranch manager before I was a cop and a lifelong customer of the Feed and Grain. So I understand this community's emotion about this. I'm here speaking, there's no secrets on what we do. You know, we're here to serve this community and we'll put the people on the street that we have, that we can do that. I'm happy to answer your questions and I don't think you're jumping the case.
Thank you.
President, if I may, and I just do want to acknowledge Chief Paul's help that evening. It was integral in being able to control crowds, shut down streets and everything. So, it was much appreciated on our part that he was there on the scene.
Thank you. Director Tyler?
Yeah, I have a few questions. I want to double check some of my notes from a previous briefing on information we were provided by the Sheriff's Department. So in North County, the territory that we're talking about is Creston, Santa Margarita, San Miguel, and Templeton,
And Shannon.
and Shannon. And I think previously I had noted that on the 4th of July, there were 8 officers dedicated to the North County area with 10 overnight. Does that sound?
Commander Rouza is our North Division Commander.
I think it was actually you
Yeah,
provided us with
if
that.
that is what she
Yeah.
gave you at the meeting, then yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so 8 officers, 10 overnight for the entire region, including Shannon, Preston, Santa Maria, San Miguel, and Templeton. Miguel, aside from Templeton, San Miguel is the only area, municipality or CSD that, allows the safe and sane use of fireworks. Do you have any information related to how many citations were issued in San Miguel?
Civil
Like,
violations.
yeah, civil
Just so
violations.
we're clear, so
Yes.
I mean, it's an important
Yes.
differentiation.
Yeah, I don't want to conflate them, I'm sorry. So the terminology is civil
Violation notices.
violation notices.
So we have a criminal citation or a violation notice. So we issued 3.
Okay,
I'd like to add to that, while we issued 3, and, you know, as a supervisor, I'm just trying to be, resourceful to my deputies, but that said, when we would turn a street and people would run, and I briefed that last time, we took a total of 29 mortars and 5 launchers.
wow.
Yeah.
What is the fine associated with those civil?
$1,000.
And this might be a question for either the chief or for the sheriff's department, but do you, just anecdotally, roughly, I would be interested to know about the historical call volume related from 2015 to now, since 2015 was the last time that this board revisited the policy regarding safe and sane fireworks.
Call volume for as
The
far
4th of
as
July,
4th of July for all calls for service or specifically firework related?
firework related. I mean, I'm sure it increased.
I don't have that offhand. We can query, you know, our computer aided dispatch system to generate that. Anecdotally, absolutely.
Yeah. And would you say that on the night of the 4th, are you seeing a lot of, like, in the areas that we discussed that are comprised the North County, where are you seeing the most activity and calls generated from?
Fireworks related calls.
Yeah,
San Miguel this year went bonkers. I've worked in various, you know, capacities in the North County for my entire career as a deputy. And North County has always been, relative to, say, the coast and South County, less of a problem with illegal fireworks, primarily because it seems like people understood how flammable the North County
right,
is.
yeah.
And something changed of late where especially aerial fireworks are just more prevalent. And it just has never been the problem that it kind of has blossomed into. So, like I said, when I drove through Templeton screaming up to San Miguel because there were fires up there that were firework related, that were threatening structures, and our folks in the field were dealing with people in the streets and fire apparatus needing to get in and maintaining, you know, protecting life and property at that point so that fire trucks could get in and people could get out. And as I passed through Templeton, I saw, you know, a mortar here or there, but I thought, well, those idiots, I mean, truthfully,
yeah.
because if you do aerial fireworks in North County in summertime, you're an idiot.
But so you
But
said.
it wasn't, you know, it was like, okay, Templeton's keeping it together.
So San Miguel though was the hot spot,
San Miguel was,
and San Miguel is also the other sane and safe.
that's
firework.
correct, yes.
And if I can add on to that, we have noticed an uptick since probably 2020
Okay.
of the illegal fireworks. It has been not just a little and incrementally, it was like all at once. Starting in about 2020 is when it just kind of went off.
That sounds about right, chief. Something has happened. There's definitely more of it.
Thank you again so much.
Any other questions for our staff? All right, great, thank you. All right, so at this point, I'm gonna go to public. Everyone's filled out a card. So we'll go through those as well as I will go ahead and people that are on the Zoom, once we get to them, we'll go ahead and request that they use the icon for React and raise your hand. Just as a reminder to please just address the board, and you have 3 minutes. I'm normally a little more relaxed about the 3 minutes, but tonight we're gonna go ahead and stick to the 3 minutes because we wanna make sure we hear from everyone. Anything else, Jeff?
No.
Okay, oh, and then please stand up, go to the podium and introduce yourself and then state your comment or if you have questions.
And I'm gonna call you up in no particular order. So first will be Troy Harper. Sorry.
Hi, again, my name is Troy Harper. I'm with the Phantom Firework booth. We're actually the original firework booth way back with the Full Gospel Church. We're over by the post office. So we rent that corner. It's now sold. So either way, we might be off of there in the next 2 years, but we've rented the entire corner. We let the parade area for parking. We clean up, the areas after fireworks and such. We try to make sure that everything we're doing is making sure it is safe for everyone that's either using our fireworks or the areas we talked about. Because that's the number one thing that we've all feared is something like this happening. None of the fireworks booths want something like that. We understood that was gonna, but when you're talking about in the neighborhood where we're at by the post office, we had 4 corners going off with mortars. We had on the 4th of July, we had there was a person on a bicycle went to the corner, the back where the homes are, and set a mortar off, and it fell over and it shot actually and went into the lot where our stand was. And the mortar went off and you could hear it in the booth. The amount of illegal fireworks is not going to go down if you stop the Safe and Sane fireworks. They come to us and buy and gloat that they have to get some, sparklers or different things for their kids, and we, try to say something, but it is a upper middle class issue. These off hundreds of dollars an hour for 4 hours straight. So I think there's been a long sense of homes that people know where these are coming from, and kind of they are good citizens every other day, but they're setting off illegal fireworks on, and we don't want them either. We don't want illegal fireworks going off. It's dangerous, so.
Thank you, appreciate it. All right, next person. Yeah, I've got it. Yeah, I got tired, no problem, I got you.
Excuse me, the mic quit at the very end of them talking.
Yeah, I'm sorry, we're having a lot of technical trouble. The internet's very unstable and it keeps shutting down our system.
It's still on because I didn't hear it, just the mic cut out, so maybe it went off over there. So. Okay.
Dan Rodriguez.
Good evening. My name is Dan Rodriguez. I've been a Templeton resident for almost 20 years, but my wife's family and my children are now the 5th generation Templeton. So I'm the president of Templeton Education Foundation. We have the booth down the road on Main Street across the street from Joe's. I prepared a written statement. On behalf of the Templeton Education Foundation, I would like to express our strong support for the continued allowance of safe and sane fireworks sales within the Templeton Community Services. We recognize the tragedy of the fire of Templeton Feed and Grain. It is tragic, believe me. It hit us all, which was caused by illegal fireworks. We share the community's concern about the fire safety and agree with that strict enforcement and education around illegal fireworks must remain a priority. However, it is important to distinguish the difference between illegal fireworks and state-approved safe and sane fireworks, which are designed to minimize risk when used properly. For Templeton Education Foundation, fireworks sales are not just a seasonal fundraiser. They are one of our most impactful means of supporting education in Templeton. Each year, the sales of safe and sane fireworks generates between $35,000 and $45,000. That goes directly back into Templeton Unified School District classrooms through teacher grants. These grants fund vital programs like classroom technology and instructional materials, physical education, music and arts programs, math and language arts enrichment, educational assemblies and student activities. So it's just not a fundraiser that goes to anything. It's a fundraiser that goes to athletics. A big part of Templeton Education's fundraising efforts. The proceeds from fireworks have a measurable and lasting impact on every campus in our district and help us fulfill TEF's mission of enriching the educational experience for all Templeton students. Templeton's 4th of July celebration is a cherished community tradition, bringing families together to honor our country and hometown pride. Fireworks have always been an important and symbolic part of that tradition. By supporting only safe and sane fireworks sales, we can uphold this tradition in a responsible way that prioritizes both community safety and the continued support of our local schools. We urge the Templeton CSD to continue allowing the sale of safe and sane fireworks in Templeton. With proper regulation, community education, and law enforcement focus on illegal fireworks, we can maintain a safe celebration while preserving our town and our traditions. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next.
Amanda Van Huss.
I'm Amanda Van Huss. For those of you who do not know who I am, I have multiple ties to this community. Not only do I run the fireworks booth and the president of the committee for the 4th of July committee on Los Tablas across from Chevron, which benefits 12 different entities in our community, not limited to, but including 4-H, your own rec department, FFA, Lions Club, etc. It all goes back to the children in our community in one way or another, either providing them a pathway and paying for them to do 4-H or providing college scholarships through the Lions Club, etc. I'm also a parent, the property manager at the American Legion Hall, so another historical building we don't want to lose. I'm also a previous employee of the Feed and Grain until this last January. So the detriment that we would undergo and sustain in losing the Safe and Sane Fireworks program would be irreparable. To try and raise the funds, the booth that we utilize and on Los Tablas each year for the past 5 years has brought over $50,000 in positive benefits to the youth of Templeton. And you can only have a group in that booth if you are part of Templeton specifically. So to lose this, the Safe and Sane, I love them. They're beautiful. They're wonderful. It's a time-honored tradition. My kids look forward to them every year, and I have 3 kids of my own. 2 of them are now adults. The illegal fireworks, it's an issue, but they're not going to go away by removing the legal, safe and sane, engineered fireworks meant to be set off in our streets, in front of our homes, enjoyed by our families for decades and hopefully many, many decades and generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda.
Cynthia Fisher.
I'm sitting on another side of the story. Good evening, Board of Directors. My name is Cynthia Fisher. I've been a Templeton community resident, business owner since 1998. I've been advised, encouraged not to speak to because I speak to the side that I'm opposing the fireworks. I choose to stand here with my community over the fear of being intimidated or keeping me silent. I'm a 15-year veteran volunteer disaster responder. I have traveled across the United States and seen firsthand the communities and the livelihoods that have been destroyed after disaster strikes. This is now my community and our story of recovery and prevention planning. Fire danger is increasing and impacts on our communities like ours as we remember the devastation of the Pacific Palisades. We must consider the destruction and impacts of our downtown community businesses like Templeton Feed and Grain, and work on community stabilization long-term. It will take years to rebuild. And already the investors have positioned for the commercial restructuring that will follow any fire. Wildland fires are now burning larger and harder to control, as you saw the Gifford Fire report. We saw over 100,000 acres destroyed that moved over 60 miles north from where it originated. These conditions have impacts on a community's ability to not only sustain, like higher cost of insurance and infrastructure impacts, but the cost of a longer recovery after a fire disaster. TCFD Board of Directors, you have a duty to protect public safety. We are unable to enforce and protect the laws and the ordinances as they are laid out under this code. We have limited resources who have stretched their lives and their time to protect this community, and I appreciate our first responders here today. There are unmeasured impacts on water availability. We were told to cut back after a firefight of one building in our community. Tonight, I am here to ask you to consider removal of TCSD Code 5608.1.2 and 5608.2 from the TCSD Code of Ordinances and completely ban fireworks within our district.
Thank you.
TCSD Board,
Thank you. Time's up. Sorry about that.
you have failed us.
Thank you. Right, next.
Ron Wiseman.
Yes, thank you. Board members, thanks for the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Ron Listman. I live at 1020 Jordan Lane in Templeton. First, I'd like to start off by saying thank you to whoever prepared that staff report. Hopefully you read it. Very thorough, laid out the issues quite clearly for everyone to understand. So I really do appreciate having it. I, like the last speaker, feel that Templeton's climate and our rural character is just not conducive to fireworks, legal or illegal. The state maintains fire hazard maps. And if you look at those maps, right now, Templeton has large portions in that mapping zone in the medium and high wildfire hazard risk areas. That is looked upon by our insurance companies when they set our rates. I am sure that everyone in this room, or either personally or know of somebody that has had their fire insurance canceled. My wife and I were asked to do a video inspection of our property, something we've not done in over 20 years. We fortunately were able to get our insurance provider to renew us. but at a 40% increase in our premiums. Fire hazards are very important. We need to take this very seriously. We don't need to lose any more structures. I realize that the fire for our iconic structure was done as a result of illegal fireworks. But I personally believe that the illegal fireworks is a magnet for those. My son and my granddaughter put on a Safe and Sane show every year for the last 5 or 8 years in our back lawn. And it has gotten worse. We were in a war zone. We had mortars going off all around us. And if I could use the deputy's terms, the idiots across Toad Creek from us were in a dueling battle of which ones could outdo the other. Right below where those mortars were going off is a heavily wooded Toad Creek. We also have a grassy area between us and the freeway. There's up to a 20-acre grassy property across from us that is surrounded on all sides by residential housing in Templeton. So I really feel like now is the time and the opportunity. It's sad that that structure being lost has given us this opportunity, but we need to rethink things. And if for some reason you are inclined, because this is a tough decision, I recognize that, but if you're inclined to maintain Safe and Sane, we need to do something about enforcement. I understand the enforcement staff is worn thin, but we need to have people on the ground in Templeton that have the authority to issue citations. These people across from the idiots across the creek from us have been setting these things off for at least 3 to 5 years. They have obviously not received a single citation. Otherwise, at $1,000, I think they need second guess. Right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Joseph Kelmis.
To the podium, yes, please.
Hello, my name is Joseph Kelmis. I'm the associate pastor over at Celebration Worship Center. And I've been part of that church for about 34 years. It was once called Whole Life Outreach. And we've had a booth ever since I could remember. Over the many years, we've taken what we've made and we've given back to the community in different ways. We've done Easter egg hunts, and I can remember putting together over 5,000 eggs, to so the community could come and enjoy finding some eggs. But anyways, I just wanted to say that what I noticed over the many years, because I've been doing this for a long time, is just how the community comes together and how we help one another out there. And I think taking away Safe and Sane fireworks is not going to change when someone takes an illegal firework and they're shooting them across the sky. I really think that we would lose something in our community by taking away Safe and Sane fireworks. It's been, we know it's helped the schools. We know it's helped a lot of different organizations throughout North County up here. I remember at one point we gave some funds to the food bank, and we actually were giving out the food that came from the food bank at the church, and those funds came from us doing the fireworks. It also sent many kids to camps and for mission trips and stuff like that. So I really see it as something that really helps build our wonderful community that we have here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, appreciate it.
Jeanette Kovacs.
Hello, I'm Jeanette Kovacs, and I've been living in Templeton in town, over in the Cherry Meadows area for 25 years. First, I want to say I am definitely opposed to fireworks. Our house is a war zone on the 4th, and actually leading up to the 4th. I work in the medical field, and at times I've tried to go to work or been called back to work at night, and you can't drive down the streets. There's fireworks stands set up in the middle, big ladders, they're shooting them off. You can't even pass the road. It's awful. Since 2020, definitely there's been a huge increase. And I do understand that that's okay to shoot fireworks off in the middle of the street in public streets. So that is something I propose. If you do decide to keep safe and sane fireworks, that should be changed. And there should no fireworks should be allowed on public streets, only on your private property. I want to also state that last year, our insurance company threatened to cancel us due to increased fire activity in our area. Our rates went up, as one of the other people said, 40%. We had to fill out all this paperwork as a homeowner to try to say, no, we don't live in a fire zone, but right next to us, right up against where the sheriff is, there's that open land. They're calling that a fire hazard. I believe that Safe and Sane stands should provide their own private people that go around and are able to find civil citations, whatever you call it, to areas in Templeton. That if we don't have enough coverage from the sheriff because they don't have that many people, it should be provided by out of the money that they make. Private people, you can hire CDF, you can hire National Guard. I don't know. I haven't looked up the resources, but something needs to happen. This is awful. I can't even be home on the night. If it's during the week, I have to go to work the next day. People come from all over other communities to set fireworks off in our town. It's out of control. I mean, and they bring their illegal fireworks with them because it's okay to do that. That's what everyone says. It's okay to come into our town and for that one night or even more than one night, set fireworks off. As a community person that wants to stay living here and doesn't want to move, it needs to be rethought. It's out of control. People can't live like that. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
Tim McCutcheon. What was the name? Tim McCutcheon.
Coming. Just for your information, the speaker doesn't work outside. Good evening, I'm Tim McCutcheon, Templeton resident, past director here. Starting about 1985, we approved fireworks as a GCSD, and it's come back many times. Sorry to say that we were begged by the CDF not to do it. We've been asked by our communities on both sides of us not to do it. I'm here to ask you tonight not to do it. Speaking with people in the medical field, working in the emergency room, I was told it was like a mass shooting, 4th of July, and I don't believe it was all. The legal fireworks provide cover for the illegal fireworks. Believe it or not, that's what's going on. I witnessed it in my own front yard with my neighbors that come from live behind me because they want to shoot them off in the street, not in their yards where it's set a house on fire. You can sneak more and more fireworks in there. The first time they snuck them in, it was like they were really scared. They snuck one out, set off a mortar. The next year it was 2 mortars. This year it was about 30. It was wide open. We're seeing it all around Templeton. The sad thing is we lost our feed and grain. That's something we're never going to get back. We talked about income for all of these community people. My heart goes out if you lose your funding but it's time to stand up and do other funding. This is a new millennium. We can do things without selling our souls to the fireworks stands. Insurance was spoke of. I spoke with an insurance guy yesterday. I deal with it all the time. When you sell a home, you gotta provide insurance. It's getting just about impossible. I asked him about fireworks. He says, it's coming. So, as a fire department, our fire department is rated, and that affects our fire insurance. And if we have other things that are gonna cause fires, that's gonna affect our fire insurance. And you guys have a responsibility in the whole community, not just the people that are selling the fireworks. We've seen issues with bottle rockets. This issue, a lady with a bottle rocket. She handed it to her son. She thought it was a sparkler and lit it. It burnt him, burnt another child, hit the lady in the stomach. That's just a little bottle rocket. When those other things go off, it's a nightmare, but they're hiding under all the legal fireworks. So it's time to make a tough decision. I beg you to do that. And one other thing is we all have a price.
Thank you. Your time is
We
up.
paid our price
Thank you.
with the feed and grain. Don't make the child's life. Thank you.
I just don't want to alter. Anybody on Zoom that wants to speak, please do the icon to raise your hand.
I submitted a card.
Yeah,
The
no, I'm just
staff
gonna
has
alternate.
cards.
We're just gonna alternate, but see a couple of people on Zoom. Anybody? Okay, all right, let's go ahead and continue then.
George Marshall.
To the podium, please.
I live here in Templeton, retired fire captain with Cal Fire. I don't have anything against the safe and sane, but, we need to start somewhere to enforce the illegal fireworks. On a fire, we get a fire, we start with an anchor point, and we surround that fire. You can stand here on this corner, get you a task force around this park, initiate some violations, write them down, go to San Miguel, do the same thing, jump around, put these spot fires out. We have to start somewhere. That's all I got to say. I know you're short on law enforcement, but you have to start somewhere. Well, done. Thank you.
Thank you.
I submitted a letter, but
Yeah, but we actually, we distributed the letter to the board. It came earlier, then you got it again tonight, yes. Yeah, Yeah, a copy of her letter was included in the board packet.
Or the original.
Hello, my name is Lori Before. I live in Templeton on Cayugas Road. And I am a longtime resident of Templeton. I am a graduate of Templeton High School in 1969, so I've been here a long time. And I've seen the changes with the Safe and Sane fireworks. It's gotten really out of hand. I live in a community which backs onto a dirt grassy field, and I always worry that, you know, that's gonna be lit on fire, as well as just the volume. It's chaotic. It's like a war zone, and it, you know, I'm sorry that our Feed and Grain is gone. It was such an iconic building and such a cornerstone of our community, and to allow fireworks to continue in the light of that devastation, I think it's just beyond what we should put up with these things.
Cindy Austin.
Hi, I'm Cindy Osgood, and live about Los Tablas and Holly. From my house, there's probably 6 areas of mortars going up. I was getting whiplash trying to figure out which one was which. One hit my house. I've had my pool for 25 years, and this is the first year I've had to get stuff out of it for 2 days. 2 days, there was cardboard and everything in there. My little dog's paranoid right here, just shaking, and so, yes, they affect me, but illegals are illegal. Safe and sane are legal. So the illegals are still gonna shoot them off, even if you make safe and sane illegal. They're just gonna do it. The more people that are coming here, they're coming to their friends' houses. They're not just saying, hey, there's a driveway over there, let's go. They're coming to their friends' houses. And our population has grown. And that's another reason why you're seeing more and more mortars. I'd like you guys to thank you for looking into this, put some work into it, maybe check how the other communities are doing it. I did send you a sample of Grover Beach, how they're doing it. They've got a new ordinance there that's the house gets the citation, whatever you want to call it, not the tenant or whoever. So you don't have to know who set it off. You just know it, 1, 2, 3 Main Street was setting them off. Possibly volunteers could maybe drive around and look at that, and say, that house is going off, and just turn in a report, not confront anybody. Let's see, we need to have solutions and enforcement, and I know how hard that is. Let's see, I think, there's 365 days in a year. There's things going off other than those 4 days that they're selling safe and sane. So it's not just the safe and sane that are causing all these things, because I get them coming off at my house all the time. It's like, what the heck? It's January. So anyway, that's all I have to say, but I really think that we should keep safe and sane. Illegal is illegal, and that's it.
Keith Axon.
Good evening. My name is Keith Exon. I live at 475 Tessa Court here in Templeton. I presently sit on the TCSD Emergency Services Board, and I was formerly the interim fire chief here in 2014. However, tonight I'm speaking as a community member. The loss of the Feed and Grain due to fireworks is really terribly sad for our community, their employees, and really the German family. They've been iconic business for us for over 75 years, and we wish them the best in the recovery. But more importantly, with everyone here this evening, the district was really at a crossroads. The district board leadership must weigh the risk of public safety over the benefit of continuing to allow fireworks in our small community. As our neighbor cities to the north and south have all banned fireworks due to the inherent danger of fire, I ask you, does allowing a significant unmitigated risk for one day outweigh the health and safety of our community? Essentially, does the benefit of tradition and local nonprofits outweigh the safety of the residents here? Common sense would say no. The consequences of fireworks use in our community are dangerous and are unreasonable. It would be difficult for anyone living in our community to argue for safe and sane fireworks which cloak hundreds of illegal mortar-style fireworks discharged in our community on 4th of July. It has simply gotten out of hand and is unacceptable. My assessment of the district fire department and the sheriff's department, although they provide an excellent service, they do not possess the resources and the ability to effectively enforce the California Fire Code and incite violators for the use of illegal fireworks. Our community bears the cost to upstaff the fire department on the 4th, while handfuls of nonprofits and firework vendors benefit from it. What was the district's cost for the suppression efforts to render the Templeton Feed and Grain fire safe? And have any of the nonprofits or firework vendors offered to help the German family or reimburse the district for such costs? Within SLO County regulations, fireworks in the county-owned parks are illegal, which includes Templeton Park. In fact, safe and sane fireworks are banned in all cities in our county, except for Rio Grande, and all unincorporated areas, except for San Miguel and Templeton.
What do these communities know that we have not yet learned? The simple truth is fireworks in our community, in the North County, in California, whether considered safe or sane or not, just don't mix with ours and our neighboring communities' fire-prone environments. We as a community have a responsibility to acknowledge the dangers of the unmitigated risks taken on and around every 4th of July. What further needs to occur to compel change? I ask the board to listen to the community, assess the danger, and take appropriate action. There are several local fireworks shows available in SLO County. Ban all fireworks. The tradition and profit do not outweigh common sense.
Thank you. Thank you.
Pat, Fink?
Hello, I'm Pat Spinks. I'm the pastor of Celebration Worship Center, and we have the Phantom. I and my family look forward every year to fireworks. It's a community tradition. My grandchildren love it. It's so much excitement that it brings to our little Templeton area. It's just a celebration day. That's my human side. I have 15 grandchildren and they all love it. I love to see the families that come up to our booth. They're excited. It's a wonderful day. It's a wonderful celebration. The parade, it's just, it brings life. It brings income into our area also. Our church, my husband and I have been at the church 21 years. He passed away a couple of years ago, as probably a lot of you know, from a fall. But we've been here in Templeton. I love our community. I have a high schooler that goes to the Templeton high school. I have children and everyone who have grandchildren in the elementary. And the fireworks have benefited the high school. I know my granddaughter, she got to go on a trip this last year, and which would have never happened if it wasn't for the Templeton High School. And our church, we send kids to camp every year, and it's life-changing for them. We send children to camp that could never go normally. We send ladies in our church to ladies' conferences, men to men's conferences. They just went to one, and it's such a blessing in their life. We've done community, as Joseph Kelmus mentioned, we've done the Easter egg hunt where we had 12 to 15, and it wasn't 5,000 eggs, Joseph, it was 10,000. We would feed the kids, and we will do further things like that. And I know the Feeding Grains, they supported that. And I think we have a wonderful community. I think the benefit of what the safe and sane fireworks have brought into the community is a wonderful thing. I think it would be a terrible tradition change. I think it's just, everybody loves Templeton. Everybody loves to come to Templeton for the celebration for this day. And it was the illegal fireworks that caused the terrible fire. I think more probably could be done, but I know it's very hard. I commend our fire workers and all of our law enforcement. I know there was a fire this last week across the street from Templeton Elementary. We live in a community, there's a lot of dry brush and everything. Things happen sometimes. But I think I'm absolutely, is that the time? Anyway, you got the gist of it.
I got this. You got it. Thank you. Thanks for.
Thank you so much.
Patricia Waters,
I didn't have anything to say.
Lydell Walters,
Yes. My name is Lydell Walters. I live on Peterson Ranch Road up by Suncrest. And the orders up there are going off constantly from the time of, before it gets dark till midnight. All the time, not only on the 4th of July, but even before that and after that. I know where they're coming from. I can give you the address if you want to file a citation. I've been there, and he wants a video of it, I can do that. The next 4th of July, if it is considered that we're gonna keep doing it. It's, my solution would be, and having been retired from law enforcement in the Bay Area for 30 years, I used to work patrol, used to work with detectives. And during patrol time, we used to get more officers, pay a little bit of overtime. My suggestion would be is get some double units. I know you have 8 officers, but I talked to you last month that you have 2 per car. So that's 4 cars to cover that vast area that you're talking about. That's a lot. If you could maybe pay out a little bit of overtime on the 4th of July and maybe station a double unit in each one of these locations that you really need, and have the regular deputy handle the criminal calls. And if they need to have extra help, then you can maybe pull a fireworks car or something. But have them in different locations where they can respond. I called the sheriff's department because of the Peterson Ranch issue. And they said, well, we'll try to get somebody there, but then nobody drives by. So it's a problem. And I think the illegal ones need to get stopped safe and sane. We're okay with that. They want to do that, but I'd like to see all of it banned, like the other counties or other cities in this area. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Teresa, but I'm sorry, I can't read your last name.
No comment.
No comment, okay. Joanne Wall.
Watch my husband leave at 5 a.m. every 4th of July to serve pancakes to the community that he loves, and then remain on duty until at least midnight that night. 18 years I've watched this. He and the rest of the fire department patrol our neighborhoods, and they do their best to keep us safe. So when I say my comments are close to my heart, they absolutely are. But my comments are not about safe and sane. The reason they aren't is because that's not where my concerns are. My concerns remain with the district's unwillingness to provide adequate resources to the Templeton Fire Department to deter those who are using illegal fireworks. We had to wait for our most iconic building to burn down to have this meeting. Shame on you. Well, I like all of you, and I have a great deal of respect for you. It is my opinion that the TCFD board shares responsibility of the Templeton Feed and Grain Fire with those who threw the illegal firework in the first place. The discussion here tonight should be focused on the absolute burden and impotence that has been placed on the fire department to fight illegal fireworks in our community. Not just the 4th of July, but also New Year's and every other random Tuesday when they start going off. And you can't blame safe and sane fireworks for those, can you? You spend time attempting to question and possibly even place blame on the sheriff department when they clearly do not have the ability to be dedicated to our town alone. We shouldn't have to wait for another historic building to burn down for us to take responsibility. So whatever decision gets made here tonight, I will be very disappointed if the only result is some decision about safe and sane. The focus should be on how we, as a community, take a position to help our fire department and sheriff department protect our community from illegal fireworks. Find the money. I don't care if some less important administrative fee gets cut to do it. Find the money. I'm willing to sit on a committee. I'm willing to spend my time, discuss various ways that we can fight this fight. I have sat down with the chief already and discussed lots of very creative, different ideas that have not been discussed here tonight. I was very pleased to hear all of the ways he's working towards stronger enforcement. There are creative ways that we can help the fire department and the sheriff's department. Not all of them even cost money. Again, if the only announcement that comes out of this meeting tonight is the decision about the future of safe and sane, I will consider that to be an absolute failure of this board.
if, after proper resources have been given to the fire department and safe and sane fireworks remain and still cause us to have fires, then by all means ban them. I don't care either way. I watched my husband spend 4th of July here, never at home. Not once in 18 years. Can't take a vacation.
Yeah, sorry, time's up. Thank you.
Penny Greniger.
Good evening, Jennifer Greniger. I'm a school board trustee for the school district and a parent with a child who benefits from the Safe and Sane fireworks. I know we've had several organizations who have spoken about their direct benefit from the Safe and Sane fireworks, but I don't think you've heard the long list. Your own Templeton Rec Foundation, Templeton Youth Football, FFA, 4-H, Templeton Education Foundation, Templeton Band Boosters, the Lions Club, the church that spoke earlier. I'm sure there's others I'm missing. I can speak to you about Templeton Youth Football because that's what my son plays and I volunteer in the booth to help his organization. Every year we earn between $3,000 and $5,000. We do other fundraisers in addition to that. None of them come close to raising that kind of money. We use that money to purchase upgraded helmets for our kids' safety, upgraded pads. It's been immeasurable, the amount of money that was needed for those things that we would have never been able to purchase had it not been for the Safe and Sane fireworks. If I believed for a second that banning Safe and Sane fireworks would prevent another tragedy like we had, I would be all for that. I don't believe it for a second. I see the fireworks, the illegal fireworks that are going off. I don't ever hear about a fire resulting from a Safe and Sane firework. I believe that Oceano used to have Safe and Sane fireworks and they banned them there for this very reason. And it's only increased the use of illegal fireworks. If anybody has lived here for any length of time, you know Oceano is the place to go to watch it because it's insane. I drove through San Miguel this past 4th of July and can attest to what the fire chief spoke about. Or I think it was our CHP that spoke. It was like daylight in San Miguel this 4th of July. And I don't know if it's been that bad in other years, but we immediately drove home to Templeton and it was, 15 minutes later and it was calm and quiet here. Of course, the Templeton Feed and Grain fire had not quite started yet. And I'm not saying that there were no fireworks going off here, but by contrast, it was night and day. I hope that you keep your logic about you and knowing that Safe and Sane fireworks is not the issue at hand here. I would be willing to be on the committee that Joanne spoke about.
Thank you.
And I've let her know that as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Tough job, huh, guys? Greg O'Sullivan, 25-year resident, 12 years as your fire chief, 4 years on this board. To give you perspective, you've had 5 fire chiefs in the last 15 years. During my 12 years and the 19 years of the previous chief, Lloyd Holloway, we have repeatedly asked boards to ban legal fireworks. As we both believe that based on our ground experience, legal fireworks open the door to illegal fireworks. Unfortunately, I had a large binder with all this research I left in my office when I retired. And it outlined at least 2 to 3 organizations that we contacted that proved, not anecdotally, that in their jurisdiction, when they banned illegal fireworks, over a 2-year period, the illegal fireworks dropped. That was their research. Couldn't replicate that for the report that I provided you, because the binder, Chief Peterson says, does not exist. How much was the total cost to fight the Feed and Grain for equipment costs, the structure and context, and the icon of the community? I would ask those nonprofits that always come here and have been every time that I was the fire chief and on this board, they believe how much money they make. There's big money here. The consultant is here tonight, hoping to be able to influence this board. I would suggest that there's a big fundraising effort going on for the Feed and Grain right now. In lieu of fireworks, maybe we have an annual event for fundraising on behalf of the Feed and Grain, where the money raised gets split up between those nonprofits. I understand the pressures of the nonprofits. I was a treasurer for the Athletic Boosters. I was a member of the Templeton Education Foundation. So I understand the importance of these monies, but at what risk? In 1994, the county fire chiefs sent a letter to this board, and I included it in your packet. And I want to quote that to everybody. This is the county fire chiefs unanimously sending this letter, including Templeton Fire Chief. Quote, "We are frustrated over the complete lack of common sense that your board displays each and every year that you allow fireworks to be sold in your jurisdiction. There is absolutely no valid reason that you continue to jeopardize the well-being of innocent people," unquote. Having been a member of that society, it's damn near impossible to get them to agree unanimously on everything. In terms of enforcement, we tried everything. We tried to get the sheriff's, we offered to pay for a sheriff's dedicated patrol unit. And at the time, Sheriff Hedges said no, because it reflected badly on his department. They can't enforce the rules. We have tried everything during my tenure. They don't have the resources, they're overwhelmed, and you have to go no further than what he said about trying to control the park.
Thank you, Mr. Solomon. I think time's up.
It is?
Yes. Thank you.
I am willing to offer my historical knowledge to this board for questioning. I'll be here until the end. Thank you.
We'll consider that.
Susan Ford.
Good evening. I have been a resident for 29 years in the same home, all 29 years. I believe that our laws that exist now must be enforced. However we do that, wherever the money comes from, it must happen. We have to enforce laws that exist. I personally don't leave home on 4th of July in fear of my home. I have taken my girls and we have walked around town, and I challenge each and every one of you, if we continue with Safe and Sane, I challenge you to do that if you have not. We start around the Chevron station and witness cars pulling off the highway, pulling into the Chevron station. I have witnessed this with my own eyes. They shoot off legals and illegals at the gas station. Walk around, move through town. It's amazing what you can see. You get to the park. It's a little scary to step down into it. We did. We went down into the play structure area. Safe and Sanes were being thrown. Safe and Sanes were being kicked. Illegals were being shot off. We must make a change. If you haven't witnessed it with your own eyes, please, please do so. In my own home, we don't do it. We sit on the driveway. We watch what's been happening around us. We are up on Forest Avenue. It's the hot spot. There's at least 6 or 7. If you want the addresses, I can provide those. We've spoken to the people that are doing it. We've asked them to stop. My daughter's car, brand new. She bought it with her own money, cash. It was ruined. The paint was ruined. So she had to go through her insurance company and deal with it, but it cost her a lot of money to take care of it. In regards to the Safe and Sanes, they also get altered.
I don't know how they do it. They pinch them, they do all sorts of things. They alter them, they make them different than what they are intended to be used for. It's something that I've witnessed on our street. So I hope that you, obviously, you're gonna take this to heart, and I think that you're going to make it the best decision that you know, but I do hope that it is the decision to ban Safe and Sane and figure out how to get with the proper authorities and enforce the law. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So we received 3 comment cards from persons who are here tonight who wanted their comments read into the record but didn't want to speak, and I'll just simply read those. Amanda Cross.
I actually said, I thought I marked that I wanted to speak.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
Okay. I am Amanda Cross. I'm also with the Templeton Education Foundation. And even though Dan spoke and did beautifully, and I think he covered everything I pretty much want to say, my kids are 6th generation Templeton. We also provide everyone, I want everybody to know, we provide everyone a map as well when we sell our fireworks. And we always say, please look at the map. This is where you can light your fireworks off. So we're trying to do as much prevention on our part as well. And I think I hear a lot of people saying they know exactly where these illegal fireworks are being set off. And I think a good solution or preventative thing to do would be to even survey our community, anonymous form with the address of your neighbors in advance, and sending out a letter saying, hey, we know, or we've heard that you possibly have done this. Let them know that we're cracking down on it in advance, so people, just so people are aware that they're being watched. I think that it's really hard to tell your neighbor, but I think anonymously, if we can do that in advance, that would be something that could really help our community. And we too also put on a fireworks show for every night before 4th of July for the people who can't afford it in our community, who get to come and with their families, and they really enjoy it. And I'd hate to see that go away, because it's actually growing and growing every year. And I think it's easy to say, we could stop, we could find other ways to fundraise, but for anybody who's in this small community, even in this county, trying to raise money, there's something every day, and we're depleting our community. And this is something that's very lucrative in a 4-day period of time. And I'm new to the board, and just working the booth the last 2 years has been extremely eye-opening on what we do. All the teachers who volunteer, they're so grateful. The kids who come and see their teachers working the booth, it's bigger than what I thought it was. And I would hate to see this go away, but I do agree that there needs to be something done, and I wish there was something we could do in advance to prevent it. Thank you for your time.
Remaining comment cards that have been submitted for folks that didn't want to speak. One from Toby Garrettson, 27 years, and the comment is 27 years living 2 homes from park. Over the years, I have gone from enjoying the 4th of July to being afraid to leave my house on the 4th of July so I could protect if house caught on fire. To now being gone 2 weeks before the 4th of July and 2 weeks after. There's a full month of noise and chaos. The park is like a war zone, very unsafe, total chaos. The population has grown, and our small town traditions are not conducive anymore. I vote no more Safe and Sane fireworks and no more sales, perhaps a public show at high school or question mark. As far as school and other fundraisers, it's time to get creative and come up with other more safe ways to raise money. Let's not put greed before safety and well-being. Thank you. And one other, Connie Mara Woodruff. While the sale of Safe and Sane fireworks has benefited our school district for several years, I've seen the use of illegal fireworks increase in the past several years. If the Safe and Sane fireworks are no longer allowed within Templeton CSD boundaries, I would hope that the usage of illegal fireworks would decrease and hopefully keep from causing another building from burning down.
Ms. Lenny?
Thank you, members of the board. My name is Louis Lenny. I'm the vice president with TNT Fireworks. I'd like to start by first off complimenting your staff. I read the report that was accompanying tonight's, not once, but twice, and it's quite lengthy, but very detailed, and I felt very even-handed presenting both sides of this, so thank you very much. I also thought the sheriff here handled some tough questions very well. It might surprise you to realize that a lot that was said on both sides of tonight, I agree with. Illegal fireworks are out of control, not just here in Templeton, but in this entire state. They are by far our single largest competitor. Since 2020, by the way, we agree on the same year, since the COVID struck, illegal fireworks importation from the state of Nevada have just gone absolutely crazy. And unfortunately, the state of California is pushing everything and including enforcement back upon all of its communities, including TSD. You folks are of course unique in that you are just a community services district. You don't have a police department where you can issue commands and edicts to, but there are absolutely things that we can suggest that would increase and fund enforcement. Most of those are in that report that you have in front of you. Now, unfortunately, I've worked with Dennis Ravel for 40 years. He's the person who sent you a very long and lengthy email. I don't read half the stuff I get from Dennis, but he is incredibly accurate, and he's passed 3 state laws in the last 10 years that allow you to do some of the things that you're talking about, including the admin site, which would allow you to hire security guards to patrol the park and issue citations, would then come back not through the health and safety code, as the sheriff is pointing out, but would come back to administrative board as you would dictate, either yourselves or other people involved through the fire department. He's passed a social host ordinance. One of your members here mentioned that you can cite the house. We have created, and we make free, a illegal fireworks reporting app called NAIL'em. I have communities across the state that are now using that, similar to the way communities use a red light camera. They don't even have to know where the information came from. You can issue a citation through NAIL'em. Vice President Logan, you asked about the fee structure. It is different based on how your legality is established. I don't know how it'd be with the CSD, but one thing that we're seeing incredible success with over the last couple of years is something simply called stacking. For every possession, every item in a person's possession, you cite them for every single one. You can cite that $1,000 citation 5, 10, 15 times, depending on what you find. So you can build up significant revenue on this. Nobody's mentioned the fact that the only safety and education program currently that I'm aware of here in Templeton comes from the fireworks companies, comes through the booths. We are required to pass out safety and education tips along with your map at every fireworks stand. I just was writing down things randomly as they were coming up, and obviously with 3 minutes, I'm speaking as fast as I can, and hopefully I'm becoming not quite like an out of control person. But I've heard people talk about that San Luis banned fireworks.
Time's up.
San Luis, by the way, never banned
I
fireworks.
do have one quick question. Are you familiar with the, I guess, as far as the booths in Templeton in terms of the production? I know I read the article from Dennis saying that there's a new law where there could be 7% of the gross.
I was about to hit on that, but yes, there is a law that we just passed last year that would allow you to add a surcharge. One of your other community members, I thought was, I have to compliment all the people, both the pro and the anti, on the knowledge of the situation, but you can.
Real quickly, do you know how much the 7% fee?
My math is bad, but fireworks sales in this community are a lot. I would think that you would probably generate, if you went for 7%, somewhere in the neighborhood of $30,000.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks for your time.
So there are no more comment cards, but I would recommend you ask anybody else in the audience who hasn't yet spoken if they'd like to, or anybody via Zoom.
Okay, I'd like to speak. Yes, please step up.
My name is Scott Sittler. Californian to the bone and Templeton resident for 25 years. And just a few general comments, rather repeat everything that, first of all, I'm anti-firework. I'll just come out and say that right now. But you know, it's just amazing. We've resorted to this fine community suggesting on snitching on neighbors to accomplish our goals. I find that a bit troubling. I also find that, you know, I realize I don't know the exact numbers here, but I heard numbers outside of two of the organizations contributing $50,000 and $35,000 to Templeton schools every year. You know what? My house burns down. That's not even my deductible. You know, and I'm on California Fair Plan in a suburban neighborhood in a lot. So, you know, I gotta tell you, if I were faced with a situation of writing a check to Templeton schools for $85,000 just to get my house back the way it was, I would gladly write a check. So, excuse me, I'm out of breath. And lastly, I heard a comment about legal responsibility. All I know is my house burned down because of fireworks. I'm gonna be on a mission to get money from anybody legally. And that would include the community services. Thank you.
Thank you.
Carol Parks, and I'm a 28-year resident of Templeton. Listening to everybody, a lot of good points from everybody. What I would ask is, number one, we're talking about people that are getting off the freeway and coming into our community. Is it possible at a certain time during the day that the off ramps be shut down so people can't get off and come into Templeton?
What's the lockdown?
No, no, I'm thinking later on. Anyway, I just thought I could throw that out. And the other thing is, I think one of our communities to the south has employed a drone to fly over the community. Have we considered looking at getting a drone that, instead of asking people to snitch on our neighbors, if we can use a drone to identify properties where this stuff is being thrown? And then lastly, and I get nervous speaking, I'm sorry. Lastly, I was gonna suggest that maybe some of these groups could get together and do a drone show. That doesn't cause firework or fire problems, and sell tickets and raise money through that kind of a means. So my 2 cents worth.
Thank you, Cheryl. Appreciate it. Sheriff, did you want to make the point, please?
Hi, Nate Paul again, Chief Deputy of Operations. I just wanted to talk a little bit more about enforcement after hearing the public comment, and I appreciate the remarks about us, you know, being shy on resources at times because I don't know that you can have enough resources in this day and age. But with respect to enforcement, and then so that you guys know as you make the decisions before you. For starters, SLO County has an anti-fireworks ordinance that you are allowed under the county code to authorize the sale of safe and sane. Should you choose to no longer authorize that, we will enforce all fireworks as illegal, and enforcement will remain an issue next year. But the current county code as written, and in fact, the code that we issued violation notices, the civil violation notices for in San Miguel, who has their own CSD, who authorizes safe and sane independently, you don't have to create your own ordinance. If you choose, whether or not you choose to keep safe and sane fireworks legal here, any fireworks that are illegal will be subject to the county code, and we will enforce that. This year, so, and the current county code as written includes the social host provision, where somebody referenced, you know, the ability to attach the fine to the property. It includes the ability to levy or to issue the violation without making person-to-person contact. That's how we do it a lot of times with the drones. That's how we did it very successfully this year in Oceano. Those provisions are in the existing county code, and that will be enforced next year. This year, that code and that package of ordinances was passed and codified immediately before the 4th of July, giving us as the primary enforcing agency just enough time to figure out how to enforce it practically. As was mentioned earlier, and I know Commander Raza briefed it during your previous CSD meeting, because we are responsible for the entire county and many unincorporated areas, we deal with Oceano, we deal with Cayucas and massive influx of people that come to Cayucas and the beaches there, which lend themselves very easily to illegal fireworks. Our enforcement plans included fielding 2 drone teams. The plan was for 1 in Oceano and 1 in Cayucas. I, as the Chief Deputy of Operations, ultimately take responsibility for where we deploy our assets, and we chose to deploy those drones in those areas as opposed to North County. Because like I said previously, it hasn't been as much of a problem here, and we're triaging. So our drones an important enforcement option that I think have a future, especially against the illegal fireworks that are launched aerially from people's backyards, which is behind the curtilage of their residence, and there's case law that supports that for a criminal prosecution. Absolutely, drones are an enforcement tool. They're limited by what kind of drone program you have, which gets into the FAA regulations and whether you need to be line of sight or not. But I can tell you that in Oceano, it worked extremely successfully. As it turned out, in speaking to resources, we also had a deputy-involved shooting a couple of days before the 4th of July. And 2 of the drone pilots from our drone team were involved in that shooting. So we had to reallocate resources to put more foot patrol on the ground, because ultimately we need to be there for all calls for service. So that drew down our ability to fly the drone in Cayucas, and it was just in Oceano. But we found that it worked. And again, this was the first year for this new county ordinance civil enforcement procedure. So what we have found is the ordinance is a successful tool for enforcement of any illegal fireworks, should your board choose to make safe and sane illegal or not. But again, it would be a triage situation, and we're going to do our best. But I want you to know you have that available. And we learned a lot this year because it's also a little bit of expectation management. When you do the non-confrontational enforcement, you're flying a drone, or for example, we had unmarked units this year that observed fireworks coming from a property that had an associated address. The county code allows us to fine that property owner. We don't make contact necessarily with them right then, because based on the totality, I'm not saying as a rule we don't, but when you've got it happening everywhere at once and you need to try and curb the behavior, first of all, it's not going to happen in a year. It's going to take several years. So our strategy this year was to levy as many fines as possible and send those fines in the mail. So they think they had a great 4th of July. And then a week later, you get a $1,000 fine in the mail, violation notice. Now, an immediate threat to life or property, such as somebody using, a firework, launching it at someone, as I heard happen, and certainly there are a lot of things that happen. It's impossible to if then, or hypothesize everything. We're going to make that personal contact, but a lot of our enforcement, especially in this first year and realistically next year as well, is going to be towards the long-term curbing of the behavior when people get the pain penalty of those fines through mechanisms like the social host provision or the ability to attach it to the property. So we did that this year. We will be doing that a lot more next year, because this is the first year we had that tool in our toolbox, and we bought the tool with just enough time to barely learn how to use it, to keep the tool analogy going. And I hope that clarifies in post-enforcement, to help you and to address some of the concerns from the community, because as a final thought, many of you have said that it was worse this year, and I saw it firsthand myself. So our resources will be allocated appropriately next year. And like I said, that lies with me ultimately as far as where we sent where, what we sent where, but that's the plan and a little bit more, and I hope that helps clarify things.
Thank you. So are we planning on having drones here in Templeton next year?
I can't imagine not putting drones in all parts of the county. That being said, we have to have enough drones and enough pilots. So, it's important to expectation management. as part of the county's ad hoc, task force, we're looking at private drone contractors already for places in the county, through the board of supervisors. And I know the state fire marshal is also convening a task force for statewide enforcement, because I've been volunteered to sit on it. So there's a lot of, we've also got some other plans already based on some of the things we learned this year, more related to undercover type work. And I'm not going to disclose those because I don't want to take away any of the things we might be able to do at this point. But understand that enforcement is absolutely important. And now that we have this ordinance that applies here in Templeton.
Thank you. Allowed to ask questions.
So there are, I think there's still may be others who may want to speak initially. We didn't hear from anybody on Zoom. And I just want to make sure that they're able to indicate if they wish to speak, either by physically raising a hand or using an indicator or a hand raise indicator. Somehow indicate to us, take yourself off mute and say you'd like to speak. Just don't want to have that opportunity pass by if there is somebody on Zoom who wishes to make a comment. Not? No. Okay.
So just raise your hand.
Or just mute everybody for just a brief moment.
Okay.
was someone lighting off fireworks right by my neighbor who was not lighting off mortars. And when I realized that I was actually doing that, he took off and left, but he had a bunch of mortars in the back of his car. So like, I mean, she could get fined if there's a drone, like, oh, well, it's right next to her property or right in front of her house, but she wasn't the one doing it at all.
And in that case, the civil enforcement process affords due process rights to those that are issued a notice of violation. So she would have the ability to contest the fine. It's not unilateral, you know, in that instance.
Thank you.
Can I raise a point, with the representative from the Sheriff's Department? My understanding, and it's actually in the staff report to the Board of Supervisors, relating to the adoption of the new ordinance in May of this year, that the changes really applied only in unincorporated areas of the county that were not under the county fire authority, CAL FIRE. And we could explore that further, certainly. And I certainly, the sheriff could cite criminally for violations of illegal fireworks, because there are other statutes that make it a misdemeanor to have illegal fireworks. But we'd have to explore that further as to whether the county's new civil fine ordinance would also apply more broadly in a community like Templeton, other than perhaps at the county's park, since it's county property.
So what's interesting is I read that in the staff report as well. I didn't close the loop with county council today because I placed a call to our county council specifically to clarify that. I can also tell you though, that in the ad hoc fireworks committee that the Board of Supervisors hosts, which county council sits on, we discussed taking enforcement action in San Miguel, which we did. And in fact, they've levied penalties, you know, they've levied enforcement action against violators in that town.
Well, as I mentioned, we could explore that further. It's just, so my understanding generally was that it applied to those areas of the county that did not have their own fire departments.
It is certainly worthy of clarification because like I said, we took action. We wrote violation notices against folks in that special district on the 4th of July. And those fines were sent out and processed. The meeting I had today, five have been paid, 9 have been contested, and 10 are still.
I don't recall the chief would know that San Miguel has its own fire department.
They do. They have a fire protection district under the CSD like we do. And the fire chief would obviously be able to ask for mutual aid requests from law enforcement. And it may actually marry up.
And I'm just thinking in terms of the civil penalty procedures as opposed to more broad enforcement of violations.
Right.
The challenge with the health and safety code and the criminal prosecution, and I think that some of the conditioned behavior post 2020 for this increase in illegal fireworks is the fact that it is a higher burden of proof. And, you know, to observe the violator close enough to actually positively ID them or actually, you know, positively find them in possession. If they run, you know, it's a law enforcement challenge right then. If you have a violator that you observe lighting the fireworks, so you could, you know, issue them a citation and then they flee on foot. Does the deputy engage in a foot pursuit that might result in a use of force for a misdemeanor violation? And I'm not saying that's an easy answer. That's an in-the-moment decision that anybody has to make at any time. And then if that person is lost or the deputy is then subsequently tied up on that call, what happens when, like this year, a great example in San Miguel, we responded in the midst of all these fireworks. There was a burglary in progress with a woman reporting that a guy was trying to kick her door down. It's a super challenge. So that's why the civil action is so beneficial, because something like the assessor's parcel number can be tied to the violation when it's observed with social host, et cetera. And certainly if you have somebody selling illegal fireworks like black market sales or large quantities that you do find like during a traffic stop, for example, possession of, we would issue the criminal citation for that and submit it to the DA's office. But again, especially when you're trying to curb conduct, 1 or 2 criminal violations would, those criminals would feel it. I would love to issue 20 or 40 or 60, et cetera, citations, that much more to try and curb this conduct in the macro.
To add on to what Chief Paul is talking about, my previous employment with the city of Atascadero as the fire marshal battalion chief there, they had an administrative citation program. It made it cleaner and simpler, even though they had their own police department. The administrative citation program adopted by the board could be a cleaner avenue with regards to even allowing deputies to use our citation booklets to go out and levy those citations.
Absolutely. The general manager and I have discussed it. I've drafted administrative penalty ordinances for 2 communities in the county, Cambria and City of Aurora Grande. I'm very familiar with it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I have a question for you, Debbie.
Just 1 second, did I see a hand?
So there've actually been there were a number of indicators on Zoom of people who seem to want to speak and it seems quite glitchy.
You couldn't hear from.
disappeared.
Okay. Can you raise your hand? I can't see any hand right now. Can you raise your hand if you want to speak? Can they hear us?
Yeah, no, I think the issue is that the sound from this room was off on the Zoom.
So if you're on Zoom and you wish to make a comment, please please unmute yourself and raise your hand either physically or use the indicator so that the board chair knows if somebody wishes to speak.
I don't see a hand. Okay. Did you have a question for Jeff?
For the deputy, yeah.
Yes, okay.
With your expertise in the field, if the service district was to ban legal fireworks, and if you had the staffing to have a patrol unit in the area, would it be easier for that deputy to cite either on the civil side or the criminal side of catching somebody with?
The civil enforcement procedure is, shall we say, easier. It's more straightforward because it's a lower burden of proof.
But I mean, my point is that if all fireworks were legal, even the legal ones, it would seem to me it would be easier for the deputies to identify there is a civil or criminal violation going on, because I see.
Oh, because presence or absence of fireworks
Yes,
versus safe and sane, or,
Yes.
well, I think the biggest difference between the two is one goes in the air generally and one doesn't.
Generally.
Well, and that's why I say generally.
First of all, I love law enforcement. My son's a police officer, 20 years, SWAT team leader, and a drone pilot, which, by the way, requires a full FAA pilot's license. So it's not just a gamer that goes out and flies drones. But I've done some ride-alongs with my son in a big city, and it's crazy. And here we do have a very calm county, really. And you have, we talked about 8 officers patrolling the North County or whatever. I mean, realistically, I don't want to, but from what I've seen, there's no way my son's police department would put a solo officer into a park, a madhouse park where fireworks are going off, and then walk through the crowd and say, I'm gonna give you a ticket without people either running or overpowering the police officer. So the thing is, you're saying all the right things, because you've got a limited budget and you only have so much manpower. But realistically, we have the enforcement people are talking about here. You need to have 1,000 officers in North County. And don't let me put words in your mouth, but I think I've seen a lot riding along with my son. And the world is chaos when you get a group mentality going, especially when they come in.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. All right, thank you. Yeah, appreciate it.
You're gonna allow him to answer that?
Pardon me?
You're gonna allow him to answer that?
There was nothing, we couldn't get comment. I did not hear a question. Did you have a question?
No, it's just a comment about the drone pilot and also just
Yes,
the,
sorry.
you can't depend on the sheriff's department to enforce it.
Thank you.
Possible.
Thank you. All right, anyone else that has not made a comment that would like to make a comment?
I'd like to.
Okay, please go on to the podium.
I like your shirt.
Yeah, I wear the shirt with pride. I've been in Templeton for about 20 years now. There seems to be a lot of confusion between illegal and legal fireworks in here. So just to be clear, the illegal ones are the ones that are projecting out or shooting up higher than what is the 3 or 4 feet that the legal ones do. So I think it would be pretty easy to spot the difference, you know, that the ones you're seeing in the air, every one of those are illegal fireworks. The ones we sell, we give a map, there's legal places to do it, there's places you're not supposed to do it. So like she was saying about people lighting fireworks at the gas station, even though it's legal fireworks, that's using it illegally. So again, the problem is illegal use of fireworks, whether it's the safe and sane or the illegal fireworks. So I'm hoping we can find a more of a solution about cracking down on that opposed to, you know, banning everything altogether. Because I do think banning it will bring more use of illegal fireworks. There's a lot of people even come to the booth and say stuff like, well, I couldn't find the fun one, so I came to you guys this year. So that's one less person using illegal fireworks and using the safe and sane. So I think that's a better way of controlling the fireworks use in our county, you know, way less dangerous. So that's basically what I have to say.
Thank you, appreciate it.
I wanted to say that our celebration here, yes, it benefits me.
Excuse me.
I've already spoken, I know you said, okay.
Thank you. Anyone else that has not spoken? All right. I think we're good. Anybody on Zoom?
I see no indicators. I'm not 100% sure that they're able to follow along, but so many have stayed on, so I assume I can hear at least some or most of the conversation.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and close the public comment section of this item and bring it to board for comments. Who wants to start first? There you go.
I'll go first.
All right,
Okay.
go ahead.
First, I just want to recognize that there's a lot of emotion tied to this topic on both sides, and I appreciate everyone taking time out tonight. I'm sure a government meeting on an evening is no one's real idea of fun. So thank you all for being here and for sharing all of your perspectives. I know it's important to the board and me especially personally, as I am a recent board director. That being said, I think that there's been a few allusions to the fact that this is a hard conversation to have in a vacuum, and I think that this, in my opinion, will only be the first in potentially a series of discussions about what comes next. I don't think that any decision made here tonight, I don't necessarily see that the issue will be solved 100%. I think it will continue to be something that we as a community need to think about and that we need to hear from all of you about. That being said, I do think there are a lot of statistics that I would like to again lift up, aside from all the emotion and the ties that we have to either firework displays or to this iconic building. I do believe that statistically communities who allow safe and sane fireworks have more calls for service, and that associated with that are illegal fireworks. And I think that is evidenced by the San Miguel hotspot, which is the only other area in North County which allows for the same and safe use of fireworks. I think it's been mentioned a few times that although we have safe and sane fireworks, currently there's no such thing as a firework incapable of starting a fire or an injury. I understand that the usage of fireworks, even the sane ones, is important. But I think that's an important distinction. And I think it's an important distinction because I think that this moment offers us an opportunity to have a conversation about what the culture of Templeton will look like. I think that it's been discussed a lot of times that we have become a location for out-of-towners to come and to participate in what they see as a haven for illegal firework activity. I think potentially by banning the use of Safe and Sane, I would think that that could be the beginning of a conversation and a culture shift for us to say, do not come to Templeton thinking that you're gonna be able to shoot off your mortars, because fireworks are not allowed here at all. I think that anything that we do tonight will be a long process in terms of setting that tone. I don't think any policy that we enact tonight or any decision will have an immediate effect, but I do believe that I've heard a lot from the community that illegal fireworks are a nuisance and are a threat. And I think that one of the greatest ways that we can sort of discourage the use of illegal fireworks is again to just say, Templeton is not a place where you're gonna come and have fireworks. I do think we can think creatively about how to maintain our patriotic displays, whether it be through more organized official firework opportunities. I know there are other communities who have done that, who have put together official shows that then those proceeds can also benefit nonprofits. I've heard a lot about the organizations who benefit directly from the sale of these fireworks, and I feel deeply for those organizations as a person who comes from a nonprofit community. I know how hard it is to fundraise. I know how dependent your organizations are upon these funds. That being said, I think I do want to note, it does seem like this is a unstable funding stream for these organizations. I believe in 2008, when the issue was raised, Templeton Education Fund, you cited that you had been able to raise $1 million over a 7-year period. That's approximately $143,000 annually. Yet here tonight, you told us something.
That's gross sales.
Gross sales, right. And here tonight, you told us something much, much lower, much closer to 35 to 40K.
That's the profits.
Right. Again, though, that's a decrease. We've also
It's not a
heard,
decrease, that's profits versus gross sales. It's a totally different number. Gross sales is one thing, we only profit a certain amount.
right. So your profit, again, in your report, your profit was $1 million over a 7-year period. That's what was stated in the report. If that's incorrect, like, we can discuss that at a later date, but that was what was provided in this report. And that is all to say, there's also allusions made that that folks are coming to your booths and telling you that they're purchasing fireworks, your legal fireworks, to mask their additional use of illegal fireworks. I think that admission is something that we need to think about. And I think it's important to understand that that the legal fireworks are potentially providing a cover for illegal activity. This issue has been raised by the board several times, and in 2015, the interim chief stated, the district does not have funds to cover the suppression efforts of a large fire in this community. That remains true to this day. Our district is very, very lucky that we are able to have the fire department that we have, but we work very hard to maintain the funding levels and to raise the funds required to support our fire department. I think a large structure fire like this just shows the weaknesses that we have in terms of maintaining the levels of service that we want in this community, while also balancing what I understand is an expression of cultural identity and a funding pool for organizations that need it. I know that that's a lot of information. I am very eager to hear what my other board members have to say. But again, I think that this conversation, in my mind, is just beginning. I think that in my hopes, my perspective is that by banning all fireworks and implementing the county code that the sheriff's office had alluded to, I think that we would be able to more effectively issue citations, which would generate the revenue needed to increase enforcement. Because I think ultimately that's the key issue here is enforcement. We can pass any policy, but if we don't have the resources to enforce it, what was the point? But I do believe that by making a statement that Templeton is not the place to come for your illegal fireworks, that we're taking enforcement more seriously, we can begin to sort of undo that reputation that we have as a destination for chaos. Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it. Would you like to go next?
Yes,
All right.
I have a prepared response because I've given a lot of thought to this. The staff report was 138 pages, so thank you for putting that together. And I also want to thank the public this evening. Our meetings are rather boring and usually we have no one in attendance, and tonight we have an overwhelming response. And I also want to thank those who provided letters. We received, I think, 15 letters at last count, and one from TNT as well. And this is a real polarizing subject, but the tragic loss of the Feed and Grain this past July and its lasting effect on our community has raised a critical question. And that is, should the sale and use of safe and sane fireworks continue to be allowed in Templeton? And what action should be taken to detour illegal fireworks? And I recognize that local nonprofits have relied upon the sales of safe and sane fireworks as a fundraising, but tonight's discussion is long overdue. And over the years, I've witnessed an increase in dangerous, illegal mortar-type fireworks in our community. I live up at the top of Lincoln, and I had a view of the Feed and Grain. And in fact, I watched it burn. But I can see fireworks going off all around me, in the air, on the ground, smoke from the park. And it is totally out of control. So some may argue that safe and sane fireworks are truly safe and therefore acceptable. But in reality, they provide cover for the use of illegal fireworks. And the truth is, no fireworks are completely safe. The only technical difference between illegal fireworks and the only technical difference is that illegal fireworks are airborne and safe and sane fireworks remain on the ground. But they both share a common factor. They're still fireworks, and they both pose a fire risk to our community. It only takes one spark to ignite a disaster. And fireworks have been a persistent nuisance in Templeton. The TSC board minutes over the past years document repeated fire-related incidents tied to the use of safe and sane fireworks. And I go back to August of 1990, the county and other cities requested that Templeton ban fireworks. The board took no action to do so. But in July of 2001, Fire Chief O'Sullivan reported to the board 4 fires in a single evening, 2 directly linked to legal fireworks, noting that the problem had worsened every year and enforcement was becoming more difficult. That was in 2001. 2008, Fire Chief O'Sullivan reported another fire caused by legal fireworks. 2015, General Manager Brotz reported overwhelming complaints from the public, resulting in increased staff hours having to respond to those complaints. And it was also noted that there was $2,100 in fire department labor costs just for the evening of July 4th. Didn't account for the day before, the day after, when those illegal fireworks are also going off. And at that time, Fire Chief White also reminded the board that the district could not cover the suppression costs of a large fire, and a warning tragically exemplified by the Feed and Grain fire. July 2020, Fire Chief White reported 5 fires caused by fireworks, calling it the worst 4th of July in 5 years. And in tonight's report to the board, Fire Chief Peterson noted in his staff report that while firefighters were responding to the Feed and Grain, County Engine 50 arrived at 12:02 a.m. to assist, but was immediately diverted to a dumpster fire at the Templeton Park. He also noted that at approximately 1:29 a.m., operations from the county informed the incident command that the county was on draft down and had no battalions available. correct me if I'm wrong, but draft down or drawdown indicates that the county is experiencing a reduction in available resources or personnel because of the manpower that was put on the feed and grain. Is that correct?
Well, the drawdown was a result of county resources being out of county.
But nonetheless, they were on drawdown because they were existing.
Yes.
And no battalion available means that there were no firefighting units ready to respond to emergencies. And it put in the report, your report said that they were left there on the incident, but would be pulled away if there was another emergency.
Just the battalion chief.
Correct. Yeah, so, this was the nightmare that Chief White raised in July of 2015. But basically, this pattern shows the reality. Even safe and sane fireworks have caused repeated fires in Templeton and are a threat to our community. Meanwhile, wildfires are only growing in California. And we've seen more counties and cities ban all fireworks, even safe and sane, because of this heightened risk. And today, there's only 5 communities in the entire county that allow fireworks: Rover Beach, Arroyo Grande, Templeton, San Miguel, and Morro Bay. And it's worth noting that Morro Bay can only be lit off on private property. They're not allowed on public property. But every community within the county has already recognized the danger and moved to ban fireworks. And I also should note that the National Fire Protection Association noted in the May 20th, 2025 Board of Supervisors meeting where they talked about amending the enforcement ordinance. At that time, it was noted that fireworks pose a threat to the safety of our community, with an estimated 31,000 firework-related fires in 2022 and nearly 10,000 fireworks-related injuries in 2023. And in March of this year, CAL FIRE released an updated fire hazard severity map. It shows that San Luis Obispo County high hazard fire zone grew by 5-folds. So expanding from roughly 750 acres to more than 3,400 acres. The expansion reflects increasing drought, heat, and other climate factors. And also it was mentioned that fire season is now a year-round event. And that was demonstrated by the 2 major fires that took place this past January in LA, the Palisades Fire and the Eaton Fire. And locally, fireworks undermine the county law that prohibits fireworks in the county park across the street. Not many people know that's a county park. So yet 4th of July, Templeton Park resembles a combat zone. Allowing the use of safe and sane fireworks in our community is only contributing to this problem. And insurance companies, I think Janice mentioned this, that there's been in the last couple of years, 10 major insurance companies have stopped issuing policies in California and in some cases have exited altogether. And I think one gentleman here tonight talked about an increase of 40% in your premiums, and what my research revealed was 20% or more. So 40%, I'm not surprised. And I would add, what would the message do? What would the message be that we send to insurers if Templeton continues to allow fireworks even after the feed and grain fireworks or fire? And I would say that the profits from fireworks sales are dwarfed by the risk of fire, property loss, increased insurance challenges, and escalating cost. And there's just no justifiable reason to allow fireworks of any kind in Templeton. I realize that there's a lot of profits, but there's a lot of risk. And I think, as this gentleman mentioned, that if his house burned, if my house burned, it would wipe out any profits gained. For those of you who enjoy the tradition of fireworks, professional fireworks shows are available in the county: Paso Robles, Pismo Beach, Cayucas. And for nonprofits, there are countless other fundraising opportunities that do not endanger the community. It might mean that you fundraise more frequently, other than just 4 days out of the year. But it's time for Templeton to align with San Luis Obispo County and our neighboring cities of Paso Robles and Atascadero by banning the sale and use of all fireworks. And that's my belief. I think that I've seen personally from perched up on that hill, seeing what goes on, and it's scary. I believe my house is gonna burn every 4th of July. So I think that, we need to ban all fireworks. And I would also say that action needs to be paired with an enforcement plan that includes stiff penalties to effectively deter any fireworks, illegal or legal. So those are my comments.
Okay, you just heard from two very elegant speakers, and now you get stuck with me. So I'm gonna try to keep this short. I am a fireworks fan. I have been since I was a child. My kids grew up in the middle of the street with fireworks. My grandkids here in Templeton have done it, and my great grandkids are doing it. I think I took a quick toll here, and it's kind of was 12-12, for and against. Probably gonna make a lot of people unhappy or happy, but before I can even address whether we should ban safe and sane fireworks, I think we need to discuss how we're going to enforce it. I cannot vote for banning illegal fireworks under the current conditions when as of now, there really isn't any great way to enforce it. I agree, we have one speaker who basically said that should be our #1 priority, and I think so. I mean, I think we have to talk about how we're gonna enforce it, and then after
And this guy's too stupid to realize we're talking about banning.
say what you wanna say. Greg, you mentioned some, but they happened way back in the old days when you were around. I would bet that that's changed in the 20 years since you've been fire chief. But again, I'm not ready to ban safe and sane fireworks until we get a handle on the enforcement. So that's where I'm coming from.
Thank you. Well, thank you. I guess I'll make my comment. First of all, I want to thank everyone for coming. The nonprofit groups, I mean, you guys have done an amazing job for our community over not just a year or two, for decades. So that's much appreciated. You have really changed the lives of many of our youth in this town, and so I'm thankful for that, and I appreciate that. To those that are here that against the safe and sane fireworks, I understand, I hear you, I understand your concerns, and it's gotten bad, and we need to figure something out. We just can't let things stay the way they are. I don't think it's safe and sane anymore. It's safe and insane. And, anybody that sees, the park knows that it's awful. I just don't know how that many people could be in the park and, light up fireworks without endangering each other. So something does need to be done with that. That's why I asked the questions about Templeton Park, and hopefully Sheriff is here and realizes that, we do need, enforcement, and much of the everyone here understands that we need to do better with that. As far as banning safe and sane fireworks, to be honest, I think that would be the easiest solution. They just say, let's just ban it. It'd be very easy for the staff, write up an ordinance, is banned, we're done. But my concern is what's gonna happen next year. Next year, when there, illegal fireworks are going on, you know, they're gonna be as loud, they're gonna be as dangerous. And, what's gonna happen? Same people are gonna come to us and they're just gonna, you know, complain, and they have concerns, they have concerns. But guess what? At that point, we're just gonna say, sorry, we banned the fireworks, we're not gonna do anything anymore, we're done. Please go talk to your county representative, who coincidentally, none of them are here, nobody from county park showed up. The supervisors are not here. So we're gonna have these people go try to deal with the county. So I don't think that's right. I don't think that would be a right solution for our residents. I think we owe our residents more than that. I think we need to, and just hoping and, you know, banning the fireworks, safe and sound fireworks, and then just hoping that it's gonna go away. Everything's gonna go away, everything's gonna be better. I don't think that would happen. I think the same people are coming here or same people that purchased those illegal fireworks, they still have access to illegal fireworks, so they're still gonna purchase it, they're still gonna light it off. So, I think we need to think a little bit more broadly and figure out what's the solution to our problem here. And I hear, as I said, I hear people and I understand the problems are, and it sounds like every problem they describe is coming from illegal fireworks. Is, you know, the loud noises, the things going everywhere, getting, shot at. So, I think we need to work with each other, and I am not ready to say ban fireworks right now, because I really wanna sit down and have a serious discussion about enforcement. I do appreciate the sheriff being here and describing the drone project, that they're gonna hopefully bring drones here, but that's probably not gonna be enough. So we need to sit down as Templeton, as TCSD, and figure out how can we, come up with our own enforcement, and how can we, what is it gonna look like? I mean, some people ask great questions. Who's gonna get fined? How much are the fines gonna be? But we need to find out how we're gonna do that, and where is the finances of it's gonna come. That's why I asked the question about from TNT. There is a possibility from the sale of the fireworks, there could be a surcharge. And frankly, the nonprofit groups, I think you guys have to understand, there is gonna be some, we need to look at enforcement, and there would be some additional funds that you have to contribute to that for us to be able to enforce the rules. And I appreciate you handing out maps and telling people, but that's not enough. We need to have people on the ground, we need to have drones, and it's gonna cost thousands and thousands of dollars. And I think the booths need to take responsibility for that. So we need to sit down and discuss that, and frankly, you may say, you know what, we don't wanna do that, we don't wanna deal with that, so you may choose not to do it anymore. But I think we all need to take responsibility. Another reason I asked the question regarding the when people could set up fireworks, they could start setting up fireworks July 1, that's ridiculous, we could change that, easily change it to July 4th only. Have it end by 11 o'clock, just have a few hours. And also maybe we stop selling fireworks. I know with our booth, it went till 8 o'clock, maybe on July 4th, maybe we'll start having them stop selling July 4th at 5 p.m. So that way we don't have those late people that come in and maybe could cause problems. So I think there are some solutions, and these are just some thoughts, ideas I'm throwing out there. But I think we're not gonna just be able to do enforcement by ourselves. I think financially, we do need to, work with the booths and see what, what they could offer, what they suggest. So I am not, as I said, I'm not really ready, just like you, Director Peterson, to say, let's ban fireworks. Now, it may end up, once we look at enforcement, it may end up being, we decide, okay, it's time for, to ban fireworks, but I think our main discussion needs to be enforcement. We gotta get the enforcement down, and I think once we start enforcing, I think that's when you're gonna let people know, Templeton is not for illegal fireworks, we're here for legal fireworks. Have fun. I want my kids to be at home, let off fireworks, and if they get injured, it's my responsibility because, it's my kids, accidents happen. Kids get hurt, people get hurt all the time, but it's just like, someone's driving crazy on the freeway and they get in a car accident. Do we say, okay, everyone just let's ban cars? No, you can't do that, the accidents do happen, but obviously we have to stop the illegal activity. That's a must. That would be the only reason I would move forward with, with keeping safe and sane. I'm sorry, sir, you're not gonna be able to speak right now.
I have a point of order.
Not yet, I'm still speaking, thank you. So if the only reason I would go along with, keeping safe and sane fireworks would be if we are making sure that we have, enforcement. Whether it's, in combination, and I hope the sheriff department would work with us in any way possible. I know Mr. O'Sullivan said that previously they didn't want to do that, but I think.
Put fireworks cars on without charging anybody.
Pardon me?
We put extra cars focusing on fireworks enforcement specifically on duty without charging anyone. Sheriff Parkinson 100% support it, so.
I appreciate that, so I appreciate that.
Templeton?
See, that's where we triage, they move around.
I understand, we want.
Mr. O'Sullivan, thank you. So, but some of it with them, but I think we as district, working with each other, I think we could come up with solutions. To me, this is an 80-20 rule, 80% of the people do just fine, do the legal thing. I guess I'm naive, we get fireworks, we come home, we set our bucket full of water, we're standing there. We laugh, we enjoy the fireworks, 10-15 minutes. And then we put everything in the bucket of water and, we're done. I guess I'm naive, think everyone does that, but I don't wanna take that away from families. I don't want to, you have young kids. You wanna be able to do that in your backyard or your front yard. It's a shame to take that away. And I'm not just talking about profits, nonprofits making money. It's about our rights, if somebody is doing the right thing, why take that away from them? And same thing with the booths. They've been operating since what, 1990, 40 years? And so it's.
But it's infringing on other people though.
No,
So it's
no,
risking,
safe
it's
and-
risking
safe and
other
sane-
people,
safe
maybe
and sane
it's
is not.
risking.
No, it's.
Safe and sane, we've had a dumpster fire in the park. It's
It's
illegal
not.
at the park.
You can't, that would not.
Like,
safe and
like,
sane.
like the chief deputy said, bunch of idiots.
Yeah.
You can't fix stupid.
Yeah.
So.
I
Yes,
just wanna say that, so we've discussed that this issue has come before the board several times over the last few years, 1990, 2001, 2008, 2015. To my knowledge, no one on this board currently is a fire prevention professional. We've had fire prevention professionals provide expertise in all of these abundant years, and I absolutely believe that enforcement needs to be part of this conversation, and I completely understand your points, but I do just wanna again say, at a certain point, when all of the fire prevention professionals are telling us something, and we are not listening, at what point do we as a board wake up? How many, I get it, enforcement is key.
And I'm trying to find the nexus
It's not-
between safe and sane fireworks and any
But
major fires.
Our professionals are
Chief,
telling us
do
safe
you
and
know of
sane.
any major fires that, because I mean, you've been with Templeton for a long time. That as a result of safe and sane fireworks? Any major fire that happened?
In my tenure in the last 5 years is what I'll speak to. We haven't had any fires as a result of safe and sane fireworks that we can definitively say that was safe and sane. Most of the fireworks that have ignited fires in the last 5 years as a result, small vegetation fires and whatnot, trash can fires, those types of things have all been from illegal use fireworks.
Yeah, and, yeah.
So I find it interesting that you cannot drive a vehicle down the road, have a chain dragging from it that might give off sparks. Is that correct? For fear that it could ignite a brush fire, but yet we're going to allow the residents in Templeton to light off fireworks.
Entirely different subject. The chain,
No,
a
it's
chain
sparks
is
is a
20
spark.
times worse than lighting up
It's a
fire.
spark, but we're gonna give people the ability to do fireworks.
Not give, have given. You're gonna take away, it's already here. You're not giving now.
And it's already had fires. We've already had safe and sane fires.
I don't think precedent is
Yeah.
excuse. There's a lot of things
No, I'm
allowed happened
I'm saying
historically.
you're acting like it's a new thing that you're now gonna give people.
Right, well, when we gain knowledge as a community, we make new decisions. We're trying to gather as much knowledge and information as we can. That's why I said, like, I hear the community's needs, but I also feel like we must weigh that with the professionals who understand and who have
I hear,
explicitly stated
Okay, let's
that,
not talk.
yeah.
Okay, please, no conversation. But just, it's just a conversation.
I wanted just, I know we covered a lot of topics here. It was requested of me to have a discussion on safe and sane fireworks and enforcement. So, they get blurry, obviously, the lines get blurry. So just to kind of reiterate something you already know, safe and sane fireworks are legal in Templeton because they're in your code. If you absent a change to the code, they will remain so. So unless there's a willingness or a desire amongst the majority of the board to change the code, the rules that are in place now will remain in place as far as safe and sane fireworks. Now, regarding enforcement of illegal fireworks, and illegal fireworks today are anything that's not safe and sane. So anything that explodes, launches in the air, et cetera. I think what you probably heard tonight is those are becoming a lot more pronounced. I don't think it's an exaggeration to say they were hundreds, if not more than 1,000 in Templeton this year. They were everywhere. You have some options. Right now, as I led with, we're pretty dependent on the sheriff's department to be our law enforcement, to cover law enforcement in this community. You do not have a police agency. That's not gonna get resolved tonight. You have some other tools available to you, though. You can continue to rely on the sheriff's department. You've heard some commitments of perhaps enhancing enforcement, using some new tools that may or may not be available in Templeton. Those are things we can work out in the near term. You could encourage and lobby for better enforcement, more resources from the sheriff's department to be available in Templeton. It sounds like, much like our own fire department, as many resources as we can have available are available that night. It's still, most would argue the enforcement has been ineffective. We're not effective enough in Templeton specifically. You, the board, can establish a civil fine provision. You can amend the code to include an administrative fine for certain violations, including the use of illegal fireworks. There's a number of details to be worked out with that. That would allow you, or allow the district through, again, some details to be sorted out, to actually issue these civil fines. That would be separate and apart from any effort by the county sheriff's department or the county to do something similar. You have those same rights and abilities. There are some hiccups. There are some challenges that we would need to work through. The issues related to social host, like if a firework came off a piece of property, you have through a civil fine penalty or program, you could assess a fine to that property owner or that resident of that property. However, there's lots of problems in Templeton that don't come off of private property. We have many fireworks that are launched at the park that wouldn't help us at the park. We have many fireworks that are lit off in parking lots of commercial buildings where there's no host. It's like someone trespassing on the property. They come here. Or they come to that location. I'm not certain if they're from Templeton, many may not be. And they go to a deserted location or a parking lot that's quiet and they light off illegal and legal fireworks. And these illegal fireworks, I think that's something we'd have to work out. How would the administrative civil penalty program be effective in that case? Obviously, there's not a host there, right? This is a parking lot of a business that's closed and persons are there doing this activity. So those details would have to be sorted out. There are mechanisms to incorporate or get information to support an administrative fine program through contracts with vendors who have drones or drones that maybe we could operate or obtain. Again, a lot of details would have to be sorted out, but you have those abilities to do so. So on the enforcement side, there are a number of possibilities that are included in the staff report, including private security to obtain information, photograph information. We can hire additional persons to work that night to obtain this information and issue these penalties. And I think over time, that would be, more effective than what we've seen to date. So, but we would need some direction from the board to pursue one or more of these options. And again, I think the enforcement side is separate and distinct from whether or not you would continue to allow safe and safe.
Thank you.
And yeah, I would agree with everything the general manager said. The enforcement aspect is really what I'm most concerned about. Whether banning or whatever the board decides on legal firearms. The enforcement aspect, if we don't do something about that, is gonna leave us short. The drone programs and those types of things, I would like to give the board a lot more information with regards to what those look like, prior to making decisions. Because some of those are situations where, as the general manager talked about the social host thing, there's a lot more information that keeps trickling in from my end of things with regards to what's called the Overwatch or Guardian program, which is an air surveillance program. And they use very updated technology, GIS, GPS, with finding the property owner and video surveillance that can all be submitted back to us to identify the perpetrator. It identifies them with a pretty significant camera and it shows them going back to a particular property. So keeping that in mind. The last aspect that I wanted to talk about that really wasn't mentioned is I think it's very important with regards to whether it's continues or not, a public education program for next year. That we are very aggressive with a public education program on illegal fireworks or fireworks in general, that it's signs throughout the community, that it goes across social media, that it's very aggressive and it's all the aspects that we can do with regards to pub ed. Schools, fireworks booths, whatever it takes to get that public education aspect out there.
I have a question. So the enforcement of drones and using the APN number, is that what the city of Lompoc does? Is that their agreement here?
Yes, they've signed a contract with something called Overwatch.
Okay. Do you know how many drones they use in the evening?
It's an aircraft.
Oh, it's an aircraft.
Yes.
Okay,
Not drones.
okay.
Well, it seems to me we have two issues here. The first one is we're gonna outlaw safe and sane, or we're not, or we're gonna leave our ordinance the same, or are we gonna outlaw it? And then we move on to enforcement. Right? So why don't we?
That's correct. Yeah.
Why don't we just get a poll right now?
Alright, so consensus for, let's see, who wants to ban?
Well, I think that with regard to enforcement, what I would like to see is the fire committee explore all the possible options. There were comments made from the public in terms of enforcement and suggestions and recommendations. So perhaps the fire committee can look at the enforcement aspect and come back to the board with a recommendation.
Yeah, we'll do that. And I guess, yeah, that would include, how it's gonna be done, costs and, all that.
Communication plan.
Yeah.
That'll give me time to be able to put the newer information that I'm receiving together and give it to the fire committee and then present it to the board.
Unfortunately, we have time, so right now it's
Yeah,
it's
and I
September,
would-
so
you
we
have
doing
time,
this
but
earlier.
not, time gets away from us.
Yeah, we
And so
probably, I
in
think our
order to
goal is
enforce-
by January.
So on the enforcement side, if we're gonna go down the road of a civil fine program, the code would need to be changed. That's gonna require ultimately, an ordinance, an introduction of an ordinance, a second reading in 30 days before it can take effect. So you can kind of work backwards, from there. But probably the more difficult part is the mechanism of getting the information that we can utilize the ordinance for. So how are we gonna obtain surveillance or whatever, what contracts are in place? For example, the company that does the surveillance in Lompoc, which we referenced here, also did it in Santa Maria. We don't know their capacity. Do they have the capability of also flying in Templeton? They're already committed to flying in Santa Maria and Lompoc. So, there are a limited number of resources available. So just because a concept exists doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna be immediately available to us. So we may require exploring a number of concepts.
I would also suggest that you really publicize this. There were a lot of people in the audience tonight that said they'd be willing to be on a committee. I think they should be
Well, there-
invited to come to the fire
The fire
committee.
committee is publicly.
I know,
open to
but
the
we
public.
could do a little bit more than we normally do.
Well, they can join the fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
they could-
they
they
can
could
They
attend.
can
Yeah,
attend,
yeah,
they can
yeah,
attend.
Exactly. Okay, so just, just going back to, whether we wanna ban, safe and sane. We need to give direction to,
I say no.
Point of order.
1 minute. 1 minute, sure. Okay, 1 minute, only 1 minute.
You mentioned our booth. Do you work in a booth? Are you part of a booth?
I have previously worked at the one across the street from Chevron.
That puts you in a position of conflict of interest.
I don't think so. I didn't make any profit
And,
from
and,
it. I did not make
and
a
then
profit.
also, the whole district is profiting from it. So think about that.
Thank you.
Thank
I'll
you.
think about it.
Yeah. I'm
Appreciate
sure you
it.
will.
Okay, thank you. All right, so.
Well,
let's
just
have
a
it.
point of clarification, because the district does not directly profit from the sale of fireworks. So the community may benefit from the sale of fireworks, but the district does not directly receive any revenue.
Let me try to clarify this just so everyone has the same facts. We receive funding in a couple of ways from the sale of fireworks. We issue permits to
For
booths.
administrative costs.
Right, and so we raised about $5,700 in revenue from the booths. Additionally, the Templeton Recreation Department is one of the beneficiaries of the 4th of July community fundraiser and receives a portion of that booth's proceeds. I don't have that figure with me,
But
but I
it's
wanna
a
say it's,
separate entity.
I believe it's the Templeton Recreation Department comes to the district. And I wanna say it's about $2,500, $1,000.
I
So
can shed clarity there for you because that's my good. Your numbers are right.
So clarify, is it Templeton Park and Rec or Templeton Rec Foundation?
Recreation Department.
yeah, I believe it's.
Recreation
Yes,
Department,
Recreation
It
Department.
funds.
and not the
sports,
foundation.
And it pays for kids that can't afford to play sports to do so.
So I stand corrected then.
Those are the only ways that I'm aware of that the district is directly impacted by sales, firework sales.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, all right. So you are for not banning it this time?
Right.
Okay,
So I'm gonna make a motion that the board ban, the,
Can't make a motion. This is not a motion item. It's a.
just direction.
So you don't have an ordinance to vote on that would
Direction.
so I'm gonna give direction. So I move that the board authorize the drafting of an ordinance to ban the sale and use of fireworks in Templeton and further develop a communication plan to announce this change. With regard to enforcement of illegal fireworks, I recommend that the fire committee explore enforcement options and provide the board with its recommendation at a future meeting.
Do I have a second?
Second. stipulation that enforcement conversations continue in conjunction with the fire committee.
Okay, that's what that was part of it.
Yeah.
Alright. And then, so go ahead, I guess roll call, please.
Directors Logan,
Aye.
Tyrone,
Aye.
Mortensen,
Hey.
Peterson,
No.
and Fardonish.
No. Okay, so let's move on to the enforcement. So we're gonna go through fire committee, come up with solutions, and then, plan for enforcement. And I also actually like to, revisit our ordinance in terms, I mean, I personally like to limit the setting off fireworks, maybe to 4th of July only.
So were you gonna make a motion?
So again, that would need to come by way of an ordinance that would amend the rules. An ordinance would need to be drafted that, because right now that's contained within the fire code. The hours, which happen to match the sales hours. So right now, again, that's noon on July 1st through 11:59 PM on July 4th.
I mean, I like to see that change to July 4th only, ending July, at 11 PM.
So ironically, we have a code adoption coming up this year also, that we could incorporate that in.
Alright, and then, also the sale of fireworks, we would need to, I would like to see it end at 5 PM. 4th of July, not going past 5 PM.
So no longer from the first. That means.
No, but from 1st to 5 PM on 4th of July.
The setting off, he wants to constrict it to just the 4th.
You just.
The setting off just the 4th,
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
the setting off just the 4th, ending at 11 PM. And then sale of the fireworks ending on July 4th at 5 PM.
sales but not use.
Well, that was,
Yes.
sales but not use, so.
Correct.
What
Yeah.
you're saying is sales would begin with day.
July 1st, and on July 4th at 5 PM.
And the use can only be
The
from.
use of only in the morning.
Yeah,
Of the
day
4th
of
of
fireworks till 11 PM.
I think this should wait until we decide on how
Well,
we're
no,
gonna,
I'm
we
just
can't
saying-
enforce what we got now, so how are you gonna enforce somebody? Oh, well, look at my watch, it's 7 o'clock, you can't shoot, you
That's
can't
why
buy it.
the enforcement, that's what we're gonna, with sheriff, and I like to, hopefully, yeah, so that way, this is what I like to see, and then, so do those, the sale.
So what's the change? So
Right
right
now-
now, they start on July 1st.
Yeah, and then, but it goes till 8 PM for the sale.
So you're just saying instead of
Three,
going to
yeah.
8, cut it off at 5, so
The
3
sale.
hours.
And he's
So 3
truncating
hours
the
at
time
night.
Yeah.
of definition.
Yeah, and then as far as the setting off the fireworks, they're setting off fireworks from July 1st till July 4th. All the way through July 4th, yeah. So
You're
I'm
cutting
saying
5
limit
hours.
that.
You're cutting 5 hours, not 3.
Yes,
It goes to 10.
it goes to 10?
So
It goes till 10,
Okay,
and
that's
you're
gonna
cutting
take
it
about
5 hours,
okay.
not 3.
Okay, that's fine, okay. fine.
Illegal fireworks, at least 3 a week, all year long. I hear them, you hear them
No.
too.
No,
The illegal ones,
And then,
you don't, I gotta get you
and then
there.
just so
I have hearing.
as far as the nonprofits are concerned, I know we're gonna discuss enforcement, but I'm gonna be honest with you, there's no way we could afford the enforcement by ourselves. So we're gonna need your help. I don't know if you guys wanna get together and find out how you wanna do that, but.
The 5 grand, she was
Time to go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
the 5 grand administrative fee that the 4 booths pay already,
Do they pay 5 grand?
About 5,700.
Permits.
5,700, went to pay for extra
That's
fire.
total, right?
We were there
That's
at the
total.
meeting. Speaking of, it went to pay for extra. Vice President Logan spoke of $2,000 extra of fire protection, which we're already covering in the 5.
But
that was what it was paid for in that meeting that I attended.
That was
What's
back
the
in
extra?
2015.
Yes, I was there at the meeting,
So, yeah.
yes.
So this is a whole different ballgame. So-
I'm saying we're already putting money into, but we're forgetting that money and we need the 7% to add in that we already.
And plus, probably gonna be plus more, I think, based on what the chiefs.
But if we cut sales, I mean, quite honestly, sales have gone down. The
Right.
only 2 years
No,
was
that's what I'm saying. It may
COVID.
come back. Yeah, let's not, I don't wanna have a conversation. The booths, they may come back and say that we don't wanna do this anymore, and I totally understand. So I would totally understand. But this is the conversation that we're gonna have going.
Yeah, we're willing to
Thank you,
have a
Ray.
discussion. We're willing to have this.
Okay, thank you. All right. I think we have the direction.
Well, yeah, I don't know that there was a, with regards to the, so right now, the fire code includes.
One more thing. How can we stop the, setting off the fireworks in the park?
It's not our facility, it's not in our jurisdiction. This,
Even
you
with-
have- you have-
I think
Even
that's
with-
part of the enforcement conversation.
Is that gonna be with ours?
Well, I think it
enforcement or
needs to
with
be
the sheriff?
in the county.
Okay, so that was-
I
So
think
I
what
think
we could
that's-
actually do is we can ask the county
Okay,
to rope off or fence off the park that evening.
okay.
Yeah, it's not that simple, actually. There's a huge event that takes place in the park all day long, and then right about between 3 and 4 o'clock, there's a big change of the guard, and the folks that are here for the day's event start to leave, and the fireworks folks show up. So, I mean, the park has got use that starts in the morning. I mean, but yes, it's a county facility. I guess from the perspective of the administrative fine program, I don't believe that's gonna be effective in
I
efforts.
guess
at
we
the
could
park.
work with sheriff somehow to stop the fireworks at the park.
I would also include the county parks
Yes.
in
Well,
that
that's it,
discussion.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
And that's a big discussion. Just the park alone could just be a big discussion of talking about the realities of trying to enforce something in that with any number of people.
Okay.
So we go down that rabbit hole tonight. You have our commitment
okay,
as your law enforcement agency of jurisdiction for this sort of thing. We're here and we're not going anywhere.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Since the district adopts the California Fire Code, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the California Fire Code has provisions relating to illegal fireworks.
Correct.
And a civil fine ordinance would enable issuance of citations by the district to, for those kind of violations, and I don't know why they wouldn't be effective in the park, since the park is within the district's jurisdictional boundaries, even though it's owned by another agency.
It could be, I guess my question is, when it comes to, and this is a question for you, when it comes to the actual limits of these citations, what maximums or limitations are there, financially?
I'd
That's a
have to
fine.
research that further, but I've been seeing $1,000 fines for violations of fireworks in civil fine ordinances,
Can they be more than that?
possibly. I'd have to research that.
Because I know that was some of our limitations with the administrative citation fees in Atascadero was the fine structure that had to go through the court system, or does it not?
No, there's a provision that's in the statute that allows the adoption of an administrative fine ordinance by cities, counties, and districts. That if a violation is an infraction, it's limited to certain penalties. I think it's 100 for the first violation and so on. If it's a misdemeanor fines go up to $1,000.
Okay,
Now, there may be something separate, seen something where there's a higher penalty for illegal fireworks. I need to research that further. But certainly it's at least $1,000 threshold.
Okay.
I think we could establish that. And again, I don't know why that, since the park is within the jurisdictional boundaries of the district, albeit owned by another agency, I don't know why violations of the California Fire Code that we adopt wouldn't be enforceable.
I'm 100% that we could enforce that. I mean, if we could walk through the park and cite people if the board passes an administrative citation program.
But I think the county park has some skin in the game because it's their
Absolutely.
ordinance
Yeah.
that says
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
they're
no,
prohibited.
I mean, we
So
need to-
I think
we have a
need-
rule of law. We need
Yeah.
to follow the
Well,
rule of
also,
law.
it,
That's
because,
simple.
the cost of that enforcement should just not fall on TCSD.
Sure.
The court part of it is that under statute, people that have fines assessed against them, go through the hearing process, still have the ability to contest that in Superior Court.
Yes, right, but, and it's an administrative, hearing.
Before that, they still can contest it in the Superior Court, but it's a civil process.
Okay.
Could I share a concern? Just a quick statement.
1 minute.
Okay, if you were to make that decision to ban, Safe and Sanes in the park, my concern would be, which I witnessed it happening anyway, that now all those people that normally go to the park and they're contained, now they're gonna be on my street, and which they do that anyway. They come up the street, get out of their cars and do their fireworks, get into their car and leave.
Yeah, we're gonna have enforcement.
So-
We're gonna have a robust enforcement throughout the town. That's what our goal is. We're gonna sit down.
That
and
would
try
be
to
awesome,
figure
but
it
just,
Well, they're already banned, so we would not be banning them. They're already banned in the county park.
agreed. We would be
Forcing,
enforcing,
yes.
Yes.
educating that it is.
But I think some of those folks are not from here in Templeton.
And the ones driving up my street are not.
Yes, and we
That's why
wanna,
they're driving up and pulling over in front of somebody else's house. Because they don't live here, they can't do it in their own home.
and we wanna stop that, so. Thank you.
So just to, so I think what I've heard is there's in a consensus to have the fire committee tackle the enforcement mechanism and do so in such time that it can be in place for next 4th of July.
Correct.
Mechanisms adopted, ordinances in place, procedures.
And
Communication.
also, this would actually be year round, right? We could.
Sure,
like,
but I'm
for-
saying, but 4th of July is clearly
Mark.
most problem
And-
time.
And if I can recommend that we do this in a manner, because I think it would make it simpler, as district council mentioned, to incorporate it into our upcoming code adoption.
Okay.
So if we can do that, it goes directly into our municipal code. And then that administrative citation program would be solidified in that, correct?
It's something that would be codified.
Codified in that, yeah.
What's the timeline on that?
November is when I have to have the first drafts done to the board. And then it basically gets adopted at the latest in January.
Every 3 years there's an adoption.
Right.
Update to the California.
So one of our local, again, so that's one issue. The second issue that was raised was some tweaks. I'm gonna use the word tweaks to the Safe and Sane rules. Our code reads today, it is unlawful for any person to sell or offer for sale safe and sane fireworks anytime outside the hours of noon on July 1st through 10 PM on July 4th. It is unlawful for any person to discharge fireworks anytime outside the hours of noon on July 1st through 11:59 PM on July 4th. Those are your rules and you may choose to change them, but we would need to, if you want those to change, we would need to draft an ordinance, probably incorporate it with the fire code adoption. That would alter those hours. If there is not direction, these hours would remain.
So I would also add to that they cannot be discharged in public.
Yeah.
Public property.
Exactly.
Would only be
Private
private
property.
property only.
Private property. We just wanna have a family gatherings. Family safe.
Okay, so on the hours, is there a consensus to consider changes to the hours in which safe and sane fireworks can be sold and or used?
I want to.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I support your.
Okay, you wanna change?
So just so I have this, then there's consensus to include in an ordinance which you'll later formally vote on, alter the sale hours from, the beginning time would remain noon, July 1st.
Well, I don't know, you guys wanna?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, you'll formally, you'll see this in writing before it takes effect.
Are you gonna
Noon,
bring
July
back-
1st.
Bring back tonight?
I will not. Noon, July 1st through, the sale hours, noon, July 1st through 5 PM, July 4th. I think that's what was referenced for consideration. And then the use hours only from only on July 4th, ending at 11 PM. What time did you want them to start?
I say ending at 10 PM. Hey, that's curfew.
No.
I don't know.
By then, you'll have it wrapping up by 11.
So,
So where are we?
so, yeah, we do need,
Gotta make it
we'll need to have, you don't need to make, you, I
10
mean, we,
PM.
you can.
10? I don't know. I don't know.
I understand.
Careless.
Okay, all right. And that just says that we need to end it, yeah.
Okay, so, you're prepared to see,
You can start at 9.
Yeah, I know, that's what I'm trying to think, it's like, it may not be enough time,
Enough time for what?
because it only may have only an hour to set off the fireworks.
How many fireworks do you need to set off?
Oh, yeah.
But you're saying that.
Is that a concern? I mean.
I mean, they're starting at 6 o'clock.
I don't start my show until 9.
Well, I'm telling you, from my point of
You
view,
can't tell
up
me
on top of that hill, they've already started at 6 o'clock.
They will continue. That has nothing to do with the safe and sane.
Right.
Those are the mortars.
Well, that's what.
No, even Safe and Sane are lighting off at that time. So,
I mean, your families that you're talking about, little kids, my kids are asleep by 10.
yeah,
Well, let's go with 10 for now. and
Well,
then-
yeah.
Someone that has the day off or is
Start
working that
till
day
it's
can't
dark.
do it any other day. They can't do it if they're working or something.
No, that's
anyone
not
cutting off at 10 o'clock, after 10 o'clock, are the people who are letting off the other.
Only homeowners, no apartments, no.
Yeah, but.
Okay, so,
Are you
So
putting that in there, the
and
homeowners
you want
have
the-
to be a homeowner?
Pardon me?
Are you putting in there that you have to be a homeowner?
For what?
No, it's
Well, you said a private
public-
residence and
public-
apartments. and-
Private property.
Yeah, they can't do it on the driveway, they can't do it on the
No,
road.
no, no, no,
It has to
you're
be-
confusing. Public lands that they're not allowed. to
Like
do.
the street, middle of the
Properties.
street.
Not at the parking lot at this.
Well, she was saying the road, they can't do it in the road.
Well,
And
we
they had to do
typically-
it on the private
yeah,
property.
we typically don't want them in the middle.
Yeah,
My
not big,
driveway.
but they can't do it in the driveway. I mean, in the edge, because she said not in the road, a ladder in the road was a blocking. I just wanted to make sure it was.
We'll discuss, we'll discussing those.
so, just so the enforcement side will go before the fire committee. It'll probably take some subsequent meetings to get that in a position to bring back to the board in a fully vetted, with a fully vetted recommendation. The code changes related to safe and sane will come back to you likely with the fire code adoption. And we'll take a stab at incorporating restrictions to use of safe and sane to private property only.
Okay. And then.
Can I throw you one suggestion I've seen in other cities with the same question? I've seen cities that have designated specific shoot zones such as the park that you do own or a school parking lot. And that will allow people that are not from Templeton or in an apartment complex to have something safe. Lompoc does it too, by the way, so it just. I'm sorry, I couldn't shut up that long. Just ask my wife.
I know I've read in the report that there was supposed to be a safe zone and they looked for location and I don't know whatever happened to that.
Nobody wants to take on
Well,
the risk.
I don't think we can ask the school or to take on liability like that. It would have to be district-owned property or something of that nature.
I can say that the school district does not allow fireworks to be
Yeah, so I
on
didn't.
any of their property.
So-
Discourage juvenile
Could I make one other comment? That you start the education, if you are making these changes on when the fireworks can be shot
No, it's gonna,
before December 31st.
before December 31st?
It's probably gonna be adopted. in
Oh, yeah,
Well,
and we won't be able to get for this January. It would be,
Well, actually,
Well,
even
no, but you could
safe and
start-
sane fireworks are not permitted in California on New Year's.
yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah.
see.
So, but letting the public know that, and as well as the fact that this park is not a place, because I don't think people know until Deborah mentioned it at the tag meeting last week. That's the first time I heard, and I know they've been shot
Well,
at.
and there's plenty of other people at TAG that did not realize that the park across the street is a county park that prohibits fireworks.
Right.
But I
So
think,
there's a lot of advertising.
yeah, I think there's a communication that could kind of start to grease the skids, if you will, by saying that the district is looking at an enforcement program. And that it will be implemented for July of 2026. It will include stiff penalties. And I think, you know, it's kind of be forewarned. If you're planning on using those, there's going to be some penalties and there's going to be some enforcement. So I think that
That's
kind
the
of starts,
best
because
way
there
to
needs a waterfall
keep people up.
communication where there's multiple communications. So if we get something very simple out and maybe the water bills, to let people know that we recognize that there's been a proliferation of illegal fireworks and that they're illegal. We're working on an enforcement plan, and there will be stiff penalties.
I think if you can allow staff to work with the fire committee and bring something back. we can-
Yeah.
we can do
And I think it just needs something simple. It's just kind of a warning, a heads up. And there can be continued communication as once we get the enforcement down. But
I like it. Okay, got it. Good. Very good. One more comment, 1 minute.
Real quick, I'm just wondering if the sale of fireworks in Templeton is restricted to Templeton residents only.
I don't know.
have to
if
show a
that's-
driver's license.
I don't know, just a thought.
I don't know if that, yeah, I don't. We
When
could
I was a
discuss
kid,
that,
they
but,
did that in Gilroy.
pardon me?
The city of Gilroy did that when I was a kid growing up.
Oh, yeah.
Not kidding. I
Oh,
remember, because I grew up in San Jose.
We could maybe,
If you have family come over. Yeah, you just have your cousin do it. And live
Well,
with your.
Darrow's.
Well, then you have to buy for the family.
yeah. Okay,
You have to what?
You would
Buy.
have to buy for the family.
Oh, not let people outside of the community buy them. That's
Yes,
not
they would
set
have to
them.
show
Yeah.
ID that they
Yeah.
live here in the community.
I have a
I
question.
don't think it's a bad idea.
Probably a stupid question, you guys will laugh at me, but where does the money, the $1,000 fines, where does that money go? That will work.
and most likely we'll end up going to the fire department for enforcement.
That's what I was gonna ask and suggest, that, I mean, that, if cut down on, you know, really cut down on it, should bring some.
I'm not sure that's true. The county sheriff gonna enforce that.
No, if we do enforcement.
We're doing the enforcement, so it depends on who's doing the enforcement.
Okay.
Just keep in mind, enforcement is not,
No, I'm not, yeah, I'm not.
I do not want anyone to walk away thinking we're gonna pay for
No.
enforcement with.
And so, and you hope that the enforcement finds, you know, over
Are
time.
effective.
Yeah, and then, you know, go
Go
away.
one off ramp, take another one.
Okay, I think we're done with this topic.
We don't.
I hope so.
Okay, let's take a 5-minute break, please. Okay, general manager's report.
I have a number of items.
All
No,
right.
you do not.
Make it short.
Just wanted to, brings a couple things to your attention. One, we host a community cleanup day each year. This year, it's gonna be on Saturday, September 20th. That's just in a couple of weeks away. So community cleanup Saturday, September 20th. It's a volunteer opportunity to help clean up the community. There's enrollment forms available online. And the other topic I wanted to note is that we had a problem with our utility bills. Do you mind? Thank you so much. I'm sorry. We have utility, we issue
Oh,
utility
yeah.
bills monthly. And we have a portion of the community, maybe a third, who receive their bills via email. We call them e-bill customers. They don't get a hard copy bill. There was a hiccup with the district's email account that sent out those e-bills, somehow got compromised. So about a third of our customers, or actually a number of the e-bills did go out, but not all of them were able to go out. Because of that hiccup, we have sent out those customers a separate set of US mail bills. And we're working to resolve the e-bill issue. And we'll also electronically bill them when the time comes, but it's gonna come later than normal. So just letting you know that the mail, the second round of billing or the mail bills went out today.
Are we gonna consider waiving their late fees on those?
So we already have the ability to waive one late fee every year for all customers. And again, not all of the e-bill customers didn't receive a bill, but let's say the majority didn't receive a bucket.
And
Those are-
how many people?
Not about 900.
There was 900, but I think like 500 didn't go out. Yeah, I guess somebody had like 4 or 5 people had marked our email as spam. And so it was flagged by Microsoft, and so it wouldn't let the emails out.
I didn't know one this time around either.
Because you normally get the email.
Good. The water wasn't free this month. District code, the district's code solid, it says you owe the funds whether you have a bill or not. That being said, that's the lousy excuse, and the customers are being notified via US mail of their bill, and we'll resolve the email. Once we have a resolution, we'll get those e-bills out.
So is it on our end or is it?
It's on our end.
It's on our end, okay.
That should
And our-
count then as either one waived late fee.
Yeah, they're not late yet, right? The bills are due on September 19th.
And a lot of them are on bank draft too, so.
I really think of by the 19th, the number of folks that are impacted will be a pretty small number. But just in case you hear about it, those are the only items that I wanted, that I had noted called for attention.
Thank you. Any questions for general manager? Public, any questions for general manager? No. Committee reports, we have 2 admin finance committee and ag committee. Any questions on those? Public, any questions on the committee reports? Okay. Activity updates, I'm just gonna go through them. Engineering, fire emergency, finance, parks, and utilities. Any questions on those?
No, but I have a comment. I want to thank the fire chief for your detailed report, this month, related to the feeding grade. And it really, I can't tell you how grateful I am for the firefighters in this community. Because I'm convinced, had you not responded as quickly as you did, and as you said previously, with having water on that building within 4 minutes is remarkable. But the effort that was put into containing that fire is remarkable because the whole town could have burned. So, thank you.
Yeah, in my opinion, I completely agree with you. It was fortuitous that we had the staffing we had that night, you know, the efforts that evening were
heroic.
So thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I just wanted to know, and it's something I guess I could have looked up, but, what last year's revenue from, Concerts in the Park was, if this year was 15K.
I don't know. We just now started segregating Concerts in the Park revenue, and that 15K figure is the net. That is a net figure, not gross revenue. We make about 50,000 in sponsorships and another revenue, but we have about
Right.
35,000 in expenses.
Okay, yeah.
It used to be 20s, from what I recall.
20 net.
20, yeah.
I can run it and
Yeah, we
get it out, yeah.
I'd just be interested to see, yeah.
Okay. All right, director's report and.
I have a utility question.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So I'm looking at the consumption, the water consumption for July. And it looks like it went up to 154.8. And the previous month was 126.91. Is that is there a lag there with any water usage related to the feeding grain, or is that blip?
Okay, that wouldn't show up in the consumption report, because
Okay.
it wasn't metered water, but it probably better to look at the So if you look at this, okay, the one that I like the best, this little
Which one?
sheet that looks like yay.
Yeah.
This shows just month at a total.
What's the heading on that one?
It says water production comparison, acre feet.
Yeah, but I didn't look at production, because production is how much we're pumping, not necessarily the consumption.
But it doesn't match, but what ends up happening is we always, it's the amount that we produce to meet the demands of the district. So if there's any fire demands that are unmetered, it shows up in the production side.
Okay.
So yes, that figure of 170.76 includes the fire water for the feeding green fire. And you can see it's really, it was a little, the
It's
figure
a
above it.
blip though. I mean, cause if you look at the 5-year average, well, that's, includes it though, that number.
Yeah, I mean, so we've had this super mild summer and that's led to pretty.
Yeah,
pretty-
maybe that's
pretty-
what it is.
Pretty low. We didn't have any real high days. We haven't had.
Yeah, it has
we
been
haven't-
mild.
We
in
haven't had
July.
sustained heat waves that cause people to alter their irrigation schedule. And so our water demand has been moderated this year.
I was just expecting it to be a lot higher, than what the numbers are showing.
Because of the fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just one day. So basically it's like adding another.
Yeah, but it was actually throughout the week, so there were.
But in terms of that one really big.
Yeah, but it was a lot of water that went on it for a long time, so. Okay, all right,
Any other?
thank you.
Aren't you glad you don't come to our meetings regularly? It's not as bad as Cambria, but.
Well, Cambria holds them in the daytime and it's now 11:15.
Yeah, well, they still go till 11.
Yeah, we could go to the daytime, just a little bit more.
Okay, director's report and or comments. I don't have any director's report comments, okay, all right. All right, I think that's it, meeting adjourned. All done.